The voicemail from my cousin Derek played on speaker as I packed boxes in my new Austin penthouse. His voice dripped with fake enthusiasm. "Hey, Aria, long time no talk. So weird, but did you change your number? Anyway, Mom's planning the Torres family reunion next month at the country club. You should totally come. Call me back." I deleted it without responding, just like the previous 15 messages from various family members over the past 3 days. The timing wasn't subtle. Forbes had called on Tuesday. By Wednesday, I'd mysteriously become worthy of a Torres family reunion invitation. But I hadn't forgotten the conversation I'd overheard 6 months ago. I'd been in Houston for a tech conference, staying at the Four Seasons downtown. My Aunt Linda, my late mother's sister and self-appointed family matriarch, was having lunch at the same hotel with her country club friends. I'd recognized her laugh from across the restaurant and was about to go say hello when I heard my name. "No, we're not inviting Aria," Linda had said, stirring her martini. "Can you imagine? The charity case cousin at the country club? She'd probably show up in those ratty jeans she always wears. It's too embarrassing." "But isn't she your late sister's daughter?" one of her friends had asked. "Unfortunately, but what would she even talk about with our crowd? Community college? Her little computer job? She cleans up code or something equally tedious. No, it's better this way. We'll keep it to the successful side of the family." I'd stood frozen behind a potted palm, my hand halfway extended in greeting, as the table erupted in tinkling laughter. "Poor thing probably can't even afford the gas to drive down from." "Where is she now, Austin?" Linda had continued. "Living in some studio apartment, eating ramen, pretending to be a tech person. It's sad, really. Maria would roll over in her grave if she knew her daughter ended up like that." I'd turned around, walked straight to the elevator, and checked out early. That night, I'd made myself a promise: the next time the Torres family heard my name, it would be on their terms, not mine. 6 months later, Forbes kept that promise for me. My phone rang as I sealed another box. Unknown number, Houston area code. "Hello, Aria? Aria Torres?" The voice was breathless, excited. "This is Jennifer Walsh from Forbes. I'm fact-checking our upcoming 30 under 30 billionaires list, and I need to verify some numbers." "Of course," I said, walking to my floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Austin. "What do you need?" "Just to confirm, Novatech's current valuation is $3.7 billion? As of last week's Series D, yes. And you maintain 62% ownership?" "Correct. Making your personal net worth approximately $2.3 billion? On paper, yes. Though most of it is tied up in equity, still counts." Jennifer laughed. "One last thing, you're 27? 28 next month. Perfect. Oh, and Aria? The photographer will call tomorrow about the cover shoot. Congratulations, you're our featured profile." "Cover? I was going to be on the cover of Forbes." "When does the issue go live?" I asked. "Online tomorrow, print edition next week." "Is Tuesday good for the Charlie Rose interview?" "Tuesday's fine." I hung up and looked around my penthouse, 7,000 square feet of steel and glass that cost more than most people's retirement funds. The ratty jeans Linda mentioned hung in my custom closet, beside $30,000 watches I never wore and designer clothes with tags still on. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone immediately exploded with notifications. The Forbes article had gone live early. Youngest self-made female billionaire, how Aria Torres built a tech empire from her college dorm room. Within minutes, the family text chain I'd been removed from 6 months ago suddenly added me back. "Derek, Aria, congrats on the Forbes thing, so proud of you, cuz, Aunt Patricia, sweet girl, we always knew you were special. Uncle Miguel, my niece, the billionaire, I taught her everything she knows. Cousin Sophia, OMG, can you get me a job at Novatech? I'm tired of teaching." And then, the crown jewel, Aunt Linda, darling Aria, we must celebrate at the reunion. You're coming, right? It wouldn't be the same without you. I screenshotted every message, evidence for later. The phone rang, Linda calling directly. I let it go to voicemail 3 times before finally answering on the 4th attempt. "Aria, thank God." I was starting to worry. Her voice was syrup and lies. "Did you get Derek's message about the reunion?" "Which message?" I asked innocently. "He sent so many in the last 10 minutes. About the family reunion next month. You must come. You're the guest of honor." "Guest of honor?" I pulled up my calendar. "That's interesting. Derek's voicemail from 6 months ago said I wasn't invited because I was, what was the phrase? Too embarrassing for the country club." Silence. "In fact," I continued, "I distinctly remember you telling your friends that the charity case cousin would bring down the family reputation. Something about my ratty jeans and tedious computer job?" You must have misunderstood. I was standing 6 feet away, Linda, at the Four Seasons. I was coming to say hello when I heard you explaining why inviting me would be social suicide. Arya, sweetheart, that was taken out of context, was it? Because I have a recording. I didn't, but she didn't know that. Amazing what phone can pick up these days. Her breathing got shaky. What do you want? Nothing, I said simply. Absolutely nothing from any of you. But family. Family? I laughed. Linda, you buried my mother and then acted like I didn't exist. None of you came to my high school graduation, or college, or checked on me when I was sleeping in my car senior year because I couldn't afford rent and tuition. You know who my family is? My 2 co-founders who believed in me, my mentor who taught me to code, my assistant who brings me coffee and tells me I'm being an idiot. Those people are my family, but blood means nothing when it's ice cold. Goodbye, Linda. Wait, the reunion, people are expecting. I already told everyone. Then untell them, or don't. I'll be in Tokyo that week anyway, signing a $400 million distribution deal. I hung up and blocked her number, then Derek's, then the rest of them, one by one, until my phone was quiet again. 20 minutes later, my assistant knocked. Arya, there's a situation downstairs. I followed her to the lobby, where security was holding back a familiar figure. Uncle Miguel, my mother's brother, red-faced and demanding. That's my niece, he shouted. She'll see me. I nodded to security and approached. Miguel. Arya. He tried to hug me. I stepped back. Come on, don't be like that. I'm here to congratulate you, my successful Sabrina. The same Sabrina whose calls you ignored when mom died? The one you said was better off in foster care than living with family? His smile faltered. That was complicated. No, it was simple. A 15-year-old girl with no parents was too much responsibility, too expensive, too inconvenient. You don't understand the position we were in. I understand perfectly. I also understand that you're here because Forbes says I'm worth $2. $3 billion. If they'd printed $2, 3,000, would you be here? He at least had the grace to look ashamed. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Miguel, please, explain why my net worth suddenly makes me family again. We made mistakes. You made choices. Now I'm making mine. Security will escort you out. Arya, poor favor, your mother would want. My mother is dead, I said quietly, and the only thing she'd want is for me to stop letting her family hurt me. Goodbye, Miguel. As security led him away, he turned back one last time. The Torah's name means something. You can't just throw that away. Watch me, I called back. I built my empire as Arya Torres. The name means what I made it mean, not what you decided it meant. That night, the texts evolved from friendly to desperate to angry. Sophia, wow, you get a little money and suddenly you're too good for family? Patricia, your mother would be ashamed of how you're treating us. Derek, we were just trying to protect you from embarrassment. You should be grateful. Linda, you'll regret this when you're old and alone with your money. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I called my real family. Sarah, my co-founder answered on the first ring. I saw the Forbes article. We need champagne. Come over, I said. Bring Marcus and the team. Let's celebrate properly. An hour later, my penthouse was full of the people who'd actually been there. Sarah, who'd convinced me to drop out of UT to build Novatech. Marcus, who'd coded beside me for 72-hour stretches on nothing but Red Bull and determination. Jenny, our first employee, who'd taken stock instead of salary when we couldn't pay. David, our CFO, who'd talked me off ledges during the worst times. Remember when we couldn't afford office space? Sarah laughed, raising her glass. We ran a $1 billion company from Aria's studio apartment. Remember when the VCs said no one would invest in a company led by a college dropout? Marcus added, what was it that guy said? Come back when you have adult supervision? My favorite, Jenny chimed in, was when Aria's cousin came by the apartment, saw our setup, and asked if we were running a call center. Derek, I laughed. He told the whole family I was probably doing something illegal because there's no way I could afford rent otherwise. We spent the night telling war stories, remembering the rejections, the ramen dinners, the times we'd almost quit. These people had seen me at my worst, crying over failed pitches, sleeping under my desk, wearing the same hoodie for a week straight because laundry meant quarters we needed for food. They'd never once called me embarrassing. Around midnight, I found myself on the balcony with Sarah, Austin glittering below us. You okay? She asked. I know the family thing has to hurt. It did, I admitted. For a long time, I kept hoping they'd see me, the real me, not the version they'd decided I was. But you know what? Their loss, she agreed, though I bet they're kicking themselves now. My phone buzzed. A Google alert. Someone had leaked video of Uncle Miguel being escorted from my building. The headline read, "Billionaire tech CEO boots money-grubbing uncle from building. That'll be fun tomorrow," I muttered. "You could still go to the reunion," Sarah suggested. "Show up in designer everything. Rub their faces in it." I thought about it. The fantasy was tempting, walking into that country club, watching their jaws drop, listening to their apologies and excuses. But then what? Sit through dinner with people who'd only deemed me worthy because of a number in Forbes? No, I decided. They decided who I was years ago. A charity case. An embarrassment. Too poor for their precious country club. Let them live with that decision. And the Torres family reunion? Will have to survive without its youngest billionaire. A week later, I was in Tokyo, sitting across from Yamamoto-san, finalizing the distribution deal that would expand Novatech across Asia. My phone had been off for days. A blessed silence from the Torres family bombardment. When I finally turned it on at the airport, I had 847 messages. Most were from family, escalating from pleading to threatening to pleading again, but one stood out. A WhatsApp message from an unknown number, with a photo attached. The Torres family reunion at the Houston Country Club. A banner reading "Congratulations to our Aria," hung over a nearly empty banquet hall, maybe 20 people in a space meant for 100. Linda forcing a smile beside a cake shaped like the Forbes logo. Uncle Miguel holding a printout of my magazine cover. The message was from a server at the club. "Thought you'd want to see this." They spent the whole dinner talking about their successful niece and making excuses for why you couldn't come. Pretty sad, honestly. P.S. I'm a computer science major at Rice. You're kind of my hero. I smiled and typed back, "Keep coding. And when you graduate, send me your resume." Novatech is always hiring people who recognize fake from real. The last message I read was from Derek, sent an hour ago. "The reunion was a disaster. Everyone kept asking about you. Mom had to pretend you were too busy with important billionaire stuff to come. Do you know how embarrassing that was for us?" I typed back one final response before blocking him too. "Now you know how it feels to be called embarrassing by your own family. Difference is, you actually earned it." Then I deleted the entire Torres family chat thread. 847 messages of sudden recognition and convenient amnesia, and boarded my flight home. Linda was wrong about one thing. I wouldn't be old and alone with my money. I'd be surrounded by the family I chose. The one that saw my worth when I was worthless, believed in my dreams when they were impossible, and never once thought I was too embarrassing to claim. The charity case cousin had become a billionaire, but more importantly, she'd learned the difference between relatives and family. One you're born with, the other you build. And I'd built mine from scratch, one line of code at a time, with people who'd never needed Forbes to tell them I mattered. As for the Torres family reunion, I heard they made it an annual tradition to invite me, a standing invitation to the guest of honor who never comes. Hope, apparently, springs eternal. Even at the country club.
The champagne in my glass hadn't even gone flat when my entire world shattered. I stood there in my navy cocktail dress, watching my fiancé of 3 years kiss my cousin against the kitchen counter of what was supposed to be our engagement party. My name is Daphne, and this is how I learned that happiness can turn to ash in your mouth faster than you can say, "I trusted you." "Oh my God," I whispered, the glass slipping from my fingers. The crash drew their attention, and Gunnar jumped away from Olivia like he'd been burned. The look on his face, guilt mixed with relief, told me everything I needed to know. "Daphne, wait," Gunnar called out as I turned to leave. "It's not what you think." "Really?" I spun around, my voice steadier than I felt. "Because it looks like you were just making out with my cousin at our engagement party." Olivia didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. She just stood there, straightening her red dress, a slight smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. The same mouth I'd just watched pressed against my fiancé's. "Someone had to show him what he was missing," Olivia said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "You can't honestly think you were enough for him, Daphne." The party chatter from the living room seemed to fade away as blood rushed to my ears. Elise, my best friend, appeared in the doorway, probably wondering where I'd disappeared to. "What's going on?" she asked, taking in the scene, the broken glass, my trembling hands, Gunnar's guilty face, and Olivia's triumphant smile. "Ask them," I managed to say. "They seem to have it all figured out." Gunnar stepped forward, reaching for my arm. "Daphne, please. We need to talk about this." I jerked away from his touch. "Talk about what? How long has this been going on?" The silence that followed was answer enough. "Daff," Olivia said, using the nickname she knew I hated. "You should thank me, really. Better to find out now than after the wedding, right?" Elise moved to stand between us. "You need to leave, both of you, now." "It's my house too," Gunnar protested weakly. I laughed, the sound hollow and strange. "Not anymore, it's not. I'll have my things out by tomorrow." "Don't be dramatic," Olivia sighed. "We all knew this would happen eventually. Gunnar and I, we just connect on a different level." The party guests had gone quiet, and I realized we had an audience. Austin, our family friend, appeared in the doorway, concern etched on his face. "What's going on here?" he asked, though his expression suggested he already knew. "Just the death of a relationship," I said, pulling the engagement ring off my finger. "And a family bond." I placed the ring on the counter, the diamond catching the light one last time. "Congratulations, Olivia. I hope you're happy with my leftovers." Gunnar flinched. "Daphne, that's not fair." "Fair?" I cut him off. "Was it fair when you were sneaking around with my cousin? Was it fair when you let me plan this party, knowing you were going to humiliate me?" Ava, my other bridesmaid, pushed through the crowd and grabbed my hand. "Come on, Daphne, let's get out of here." As we moved toward the door, Olivia called out, "Don't worry, cousin. I'll take good care of him." I stopped, turned, and met her eyes. "You know what, Olivia? You two deserve each other." The night air hit my face as we stepped outside, and I finally let the tears fall. Elise and Ava flanked me, their presence the only thing keeping me upright. "My car's around the corner," Elise said softly. "You're staying with me tonight." "I can't believe they would do this," Ava muttered, her arm around my waist. I wiped my eyes, smearing mascara across my cheeks. "I can. Olivia's always wanted what I have. I just never thought Gunnar would—" "He's an idiot," Elise declared. "And she's a snake. You're better off without both of them." As we drove away from the house I'd shared with Gunnar, I watched our engagement party dissolve into chaos in the rearview mirror. My phone buzzed with messages, probably from Gunnar, maybe from Olivia, definitely from concerned guests, but I ignored them all. "I'm going to be okay," I said, more to myself than to my friends. "Of course you are," Ava replied firmly. "You're the strongest person we know." Looking out the window at the city lights blurring past, I made a silent promise to myself. I would rebuild my life, piece by piece, and I would do it without letting bitterness consume me. Gunnar and Olivia might have taken my trust, my love, and my family peace, but they wouldn't take my future, not if I had anything to say about it. 2 years can change everything. I realized this as I stood in front of my office building, coffee in hand, actually looking forward to the day ahead. The morning sun felt different now, warmer, more promising. "There's my favorite editor," Elise called out, crossing the street to meet me. "Ready for the pitch meeting?" "Born ready," I replied, pushing through the revolving doors. "The new lifestyle section is going to be amazing." The elevator ride to the 14th floor gave me a moment to appreciate how far I'd come. After the engagement disaster, I'd thrown myself into work, climbing from junior editor to department head in record time. "Did you hear about Gunnar?" Elise asked hesitantly as we stepped into the hallway. My stomach didn't drop at his name anymore. Progress. "No, what about him?" Olivia posted their breakup all over social media. Apparently, she caught him texting his ex. I couldn't help but laugh. Karma's a patient lady. The conference room was already filling up when we arrived. I took my usual seat, spreading out my notes, when an unfamiliar voice caught my attention. "Is this seat taken?" I looked up to find myself staring into the warmest brown eyes I'd ever seen. The man attached to them wasn't hard on the eyes either. "It's all yours," I managed, moving my bag. "I'm Elliot," he said, settling in beside me. "New investigative journalist, first day." "Daphne, lifestyle section editor, welcome aboard." The meeting flew by, but I caught Elliot glancing my way several times. When our boss announced we'd be partnering on a series about modern relationships, I felt a flutter of excitement I hadn't experienced in years. After the meeting, Elliot caught up with me in the break room. "So, partner, how about we discuss our article over coffee?" "We're literally holding coffee right now," I pointed out, smiling. "I meant real coffee. The kind that doesn't come from an office machine and actually tastes like something other than regret. I hesitated, old fears creeping in. Elise, who had been pretending not to eavesdrop, suddenly appeared. "She'd love to," she announced. "Daphne hasn't had decent coffee in ages." "Traitor," I muttered, but couldn't hide my smile. "Perfect," Elliot grinned. "There's a great place around the corner, shall we?" The cafe was cozy, with mismatched furniture and the smell of fresh pastries. We claimed a small table by the window, and conversation flowed easier than I expected. "So," Elliot said, stirring his Americano, "what made you choose lifestyle journalism?" "I like helping people navigate life's messier moments. Sometimes the right article at the right time can change someone's whole perspective." "Speaking from experience?" I paused, considering how much to share. "Let's just say I know what it's like to need guidance during tough times." "Fair enough," he nodded, not pushing further. "I specialize in exposing truth. There's something satisfying about bringing hidden stories to light." My phone buzzed, a text from Ava. "Olivia's looking for your new number. Says she wants to apologize. Should I give it to her?" "Everything okay?" Elliot asked, noticing my frown. "Just family drama," I replied, quickly typing, "absolutely not," to Ava. "Ah, the best kind of drama," he smiled. "Want to talk about it?" "Maybe another time. Right now, I'd rather hear about this series we're working on." We spent the next hour brainstorming ideas, our coffee growing cold as we got lost in conversation. Elliot's passion for his work was infectious, and I found myself opening up more than I had in months. "We should probably head back," I said reluctantly, noticing the time. "Probably," he agreed, but neither of us moved. "Listen, Daphne, would you like to get dinner sometime? Not for work, just us?" The question hung in the air, and for a moment I saw Gunnar's face, heard Olivia's mocking laugh. But looking at Elliot's honest expression, I realized something. I wasn't afraid anymore. "I'd like that," I said softly. Back at the office, Elise was waiting at my desk. "Well, how was coffee with the cute new guy?" "Professional," I said, trying to keep a straight face. "Completely professional." "Liar," she grinned. "You're glowing." "I am not—" My phone buzzed again. This time it was Austin. "Heard about Gunnar and Olivia. You okay?" I typed back, "Never better, actually. Life has a funny way of working out." "Want to know the best part?" Elise leaned in conspiratorially. "Elliot's been asking about you all morning. Apparently he spotted you in the lobby last week and has been trying to figure out how to meet you ever since." I felt a warmth spread through my chest that had nothing to do with coffee. Sometimes the best things in life come when you're busy rebuilding yourself, when you're not looking for them at all. And sometimes, just sometimes, they come with really great coffee. "Did you hear what she's saying about you?" Ava burst into my apartment, waving her phone. I was in the middle of getting ready for my third date with Elliot, carefully applying mascara. "Who's saying what?" I asked, though I already knew. Olivia had been unusually active on social media lately. "Your cousin is telling everyone you're unstable. She's saying you had a breakdown after Gunnar left and that's why you got promoted, because people felt sorry for you." I set down the mascara, taking a deep breath. "Of course she is." "That's not all," Ava continued, pacing. "She's been talking to your Aunt Helen, spreading rumors about how you're trying to sabotage her relationship with Gunnar even though they broke up." My phone lit up with a text from Elliot. "On my way. Can't wait to see you." "Let her talk," I said, smoothing my dress. "Anyone who matters knows the truth." "But Daphne—" The doorbell rang and Ava's eyes widened. "Is that him? The journalist?" I opened the door to find Elliot holding a bouquet of sunflowers. His smile faltered slightly when he saw Ava. "I hope I'm not interrupting," he said. "Not at all," I replied, taking the flowers. "Elliot, this is Ava, my friend and occasional drama messenger. Ava, this is Elliot." "Nice to meet you," Ava said, studying him. "Treat her right or you'll have me to deal with." "Noted," Elliot laughed. "Though from what I've seen, Daphne's pretty capable of handling herself." As I put the flowers in water, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Austin. "Heads up, Olivia's telling people she's going to crash your department's charity gala next week. Says she has proof about something. Everything okay? Elliot asked, noticing my expression. Just my cousin being my cousin, I sighed. She's threatening to cause trouble at the gala. The one we're covering for the paper? Elliot's journalist instincts seemed to kick in. What kind of trouble? Who knows? She's probably just trying to get attention now that Gunner's gone. Ava grabbed her purse. I'll leave you two to your date, but call me if you need anything. And Daphne? Don't let her win. After she left, Elliot and I headed to the restaurant, a cozy Italian place he'd picked. Over pasta, he asked the question I'd been dreading. So, want to tell me about this cousin of yours? I twirled spaghetti around my fork. It's complicated. I'm good with complicated, he said softly, and I'm a pretty good listener. So I told him everything, about Gunner, the engagement party, Olivia's betrayal. As I spoke, I noticed him taking mental notes, his reporter's instinct showing. And now she's spreading rumors? He asked. That's what she does. She can't stand that I'm happy without them. Elliot reached across the table, taking my hand. You know, as a journalist, I've covered a lot of stories about people like your cousin. They usually end up exposing themselves. What do you mean? People who constantly need to create drama eventually slip up. They get sloppy. Just then, my phone lit up with a series of notifications. Olivia had tagged me in several posts, each one more ridiculous than the last. Look at this, I showed Elliot. She's claiming I'm obsessed with her and Gunner, that I'm stalking them online. We're not even connected on social media anymore. Elliot scrolled through the posts, his expression thoughtful. You know, this could be useful. Useful how? Every post, every lie, every attempt to hurt you, it's all documented. If she tries anything at the gala, we'll have proof of her pattern of behavior, I finished, understanding dawning. Exactly. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting someone dig their own grave. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt something click into place. You're pretty smart, you know that. I try, he smiled. Now, about this gala, would you like to be my date? Officially? Officially? I raised an eyebrow. As opposed to? As opposed to just being my colleague who happens to be wearing a fancy dress and standing next to me all night. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in days. I'd love to be your date. As we left the restaurant, hand in hand, I checked my phone one last time. Another message from Austin. Whatever Olivia's planning, be careful. She seems different lately, desperate. Elliot squeezed my hand. Everything okay? I looked up at him, at his concerned expression, and made a decision. I wasn't going to let Olivia's toxicity poison this too. Everything's perfect, I said. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it. Let Olivia plot and scheme. I had something better, something real, and no amount of rumors could take that away. 6 months with Elliot felt like a lifetime and a heartbeat all at once. We were curled up on his couch, takeout containers scattered on the coffee table, when he suddenly muted the movie we were watching. Move in with me, he said. No preamble, just pure Elliot directness. I sat up, heart racing. What? Move in with me, he repeated, turning to face me. Half your clothes are already here. You have a toothbrush in my bathroom, and I hate waking up in a bed without you in it. That's quite a proposal, I teased, then froze as his eyes widened. I mean, not a proposal, just a... What if it was? He interrupted. A proposal, I mean. The world seemed to stop. Elliot, he slid off the couch onto one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. I've been carrying this around for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. But sitting here with you, eating leftover Chinese food and watching bad movies, this is perfect. This is us. Tears welled up in my eyes as he opened the box, revealing a simple but stunning emerald ring. Daphne, will you... My phone erupted in a series of aggressive buzzes, breaking the moment. Olivia's name flashed on the screen, along with multiple text notifications. How did she get my number? I muttered. Don't answer it, Elliot said, still on one knee. I'm kind of in the middle of something here. But the texts kept coming. Finally, I glanced at them. You think you're so clever? I know what your precious Elliot's been doing. He's been investigating me, hasn't he? You're both going to regret this. Elliot read the messages over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. She's right about one thing. I have been investigating her. What do you mean? He set the ring box on the coffee table and pulled out his laptop. Remember all those work meetings I've been having? I've been gathering evidence of her harassment, her lies, everything. I was going to surprise you with it at the gala next week. You've been investigating my cousin? I stood up, pacing. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed your genuine reactions. If she suspected you knew, she'd be more careful, I finished. Show me what you found. Elliot opened a folder filled with screenshots, recordings, and witness statements. There were messages from Gunnar to mutual friends about Olivia's obsessive behavior, evidence of her creating fake social media accounts to harass me, even footage of her trying to get into my office building. She's been stalking me, I whispered. And more. She's been telling people she's engaged to Gunnar even though they broke up months ago. She's been sending threatening messages to anyone who's friendly with you. She's spiraling, Daphne. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Elise. Olivia just showed up at the office asking for your home address. Security turned her away, but be careful. I should have told you sooner, Elliot said, taking my hands. But I wanted to protect you, to give you concrete proof that you're not the crazy one here. I looked at the ring box on the table, then back at him. Ask me again. What? Ask me again. The question you were trying to ask before. He smiled, understanding dawning. Getting back down on one knee, he picked up the box. Daphne, will you marry me? Yes, I said without hesitation. Yes, I will. As he slipped the ring onto my finger, my phone lit up with another message from Olivia. You'll never be happy. I won't let you. Should we be worried? I asked, showing Elliot the message. No, he said firmly. We have everything documented. If she tries anything at the gala, we'll be ready, I finished. He pulled me close, kissing my forehead. I promise you, this time around, your engagement story will have a much better ending. It already does, I said, looking at my ring. It has you in it. We spent the rest of the evening planning, not just our future together, but how to handle Olivia at the gala. As much as I wanted to announce our engagement, we decided to keep it quiet until after the event. Let her show her hand first, Elliot suggested. Then we'll show ours. Looking at the evidence he'd gathered, I felt a mix of emotions. Sadness for the cousin I'd once loved, anger at her betrayal, but mostly gratitude for the man who'd gone to such lengths to protect me. I love you, I said simply. I love you too, he replied. And Daphne, this time no one's going to take your happiness away, I promise. As we settled back onto the couch, my new ring catching the light, I believed him. This time was different. This time, I wasn't just in love. I was stronger, wiser, and most importantly, I wasn't alone. Let Olivia try her worst. We were ready. The day before the gala, Austin called me for coffee. His expression was grave as he stirred his latte, and I knew something was wrong before he even spoke. Olivia came to see me yesterday, he said, leaning forward. She's not well, Daphne. She's convinced herself that you and Gunnar are having some secret affair. I nearly choked on my coffee. What? She showed me evidence, doctored photos, fake text messages. She's planning to expose it all at the gala tomorrow night. But that's insane, I protested. I haven't even spoken to Gunnar since— I know, Austin interrupted. We all know. But Olivia's lost touch with reality. She's been calling everyone in the family, trying to turn them against you. My phone buzzed, a text from Elliot. Found something big. Meet me at the office ASAP. I have to go, I told Austin, standing up. But thank you for warning me. Be careful, he called after me. She's not the same person we used to know. At the office, Elliot was waiting with his laptop open. Elise and Ava had joined him, both looking concerned. Show her, Ava urged. Elliot turned the screen toward me. Olivia's been busy. She's created a whole website dedicated to exposing you. Look at the domain registration date. The day after we got engaged, I whispered. She must have been watching us, Elise said. Following you. That's not all, Elliot continued, pulling up more documents. She's been sending anonymous threats to the gala venue, trying to get it cancelled. When that didn't work, she bought a ticket under a fake name. And Gunnar, I asked, does he know what she's doing? Ava pulled out her phone. He just posted this an hour ago. It was a public statement from Gunnar. To address the rumors, I am not in a relationship with either Olivia or Daphne. Any claims otherwise are false. Please respect my privacy during this time. She's going to crash and burn, Elise said softly, and she's going to try to take you down with her. My engagement ring felt heavy on the chain around my neck, where I'd been hiding it. So what do we do? Elliot smiled grimly. We let her try. I've arranged for everything to be recorded tomorrow night. Every accusation, every lie, it'll all be documented. But that's not all, Ava added. We've got your back. The whole team will be there. Just then my phone rang, Olivia's number. I put it on speaker. Hello, cousin? Her voice dripped with false sweetness. Ready for tomorrow night? What do you want, Olivia? Just checking in, making sure you're prepared for your big exposé. You know, you really should have been more careful with your secret meetings with Gunnar. There were no secret meetings, I said firmly. You need help, Olivia. She laughed, the sound brittle and sharp. Oh, I'm not the one who needs help. By the way, that emerald ring looks lovely on you. Green was always your color. The line went dead. I instinctively grabbed the chain around my neck. She's been watching us, Elliot said, his face dark. For how long? Long enough, Elise replied. But we can use that. If she's been stalking you, it adds to the evidence, Ava finished. Makes our case stronger. I sank into a chair, the weight of everything hitting me. I never wanted this, any of this. Elliot knelt beside me. I know, but tomorrow night it ends, one way or another. We should post security at all the entrances, Elise suggested, already making calls, and have someone monitoring the security feeds. I'll handle that, Ava volunteered. My brother works for the venue's security team. As they planned, I felt a strange calm settle over me. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about stopping Olivia before she hurt anyone else. Tomorrow night, I said, standing up, we end this, but we do it my way. No stooping to her level. What's the plan? Elliot asked. I pulled the ring out from under my shirt, letting it catch the light. We let her make her accusations. Let her show everyone exactly who she is. And then we show them who you are, Elise finished, smiling. As we finalized the details, my phone lit up with one last text from Olivia. Hope you're ready for the performance of a lifetime. I looked at my team, my fiancé, my friends, my support system, and typed back, break a leg, cousin. You're going to need it. Tomorrow night couldn't come soon enough. The stage was set, the players were ready, and this time, I wasn't the one who would be blindsided. Let the show begin. The gala ballroom sparkled with champagne glasses and evening gowns, but all I could focus on was the ticking time bomb in my chest. Elliot squeezed my hand as we entered, his other hand holding a small USB drive that contained everything we needed. She's here, Ava whispered through my earpiece. Northwest corner, red dress. She's already had 3 glasses of champagne. Security's in position, Elliot murmured. Just stay calm and stick to the plan. I spotted Olivia across the room, her red dress a slash of color against the muted evening wear. She was talking intensely to Austin, who caught my eye and gave a subtle nod. Ladies and gentlemen, our editor-in-chief announced from the podium, welcome to our annual charity gala. She's moving, Elise's voice crackled in my ear, heading toward the stage. I watched as Olivia weaved through the crowd, clutching her phone like a weapon. The editor was just finishing his speech when she reached the steps. Excuse me, Olivia called out, her voice carrying across the room. I have something to say. The crowd murmured as she climbed onto the stage. Our editor-in-chief looked confused but stepped aside, exactly as we'd planned. Many of you know my cousin Daphne, Olivia started, her words slightly slurred. What you don't know is what she's been hiding. Elliot pressed a button on his phone, and the large projection screen behind Olivia came to life. You see, Olivia continued, pulling up her own phone, I have proof of her affair with my fiancé, Gunnar. Ex-fiancé, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. Gunnar stepped forward, looking uncomfortable but determined. We broke up months ago, Olivia. You need to stop this. No, she snapped. I have the messages, the photos. The projection screen suddenly filled with images, but not the ones Olivia had planned to show. Instead, there were screenshots of her threatening messages, security footage of her following me, evidence of her harassment. What is this? She spun around, facing the screen. No, this isn't. I had different pictures. You mean these pictures? Elliot stepped forward, projecting a series of clearly photoshopped images. The ones you created to frame Daphne? The crowd gasped as evidence of Olivia's deception played out on the screen. Her fake social media accounts, her doctored evidence, her increasingly unstable messages, all of it exposed. You, she pointed at Elliot, swaying slightly. You did this. You've been spying on me. No, Olivia, I said, walking toward the stage. You did this to yourself. Every threat, every lie, every attempt to hurt me, you documented it all yourself. Liar, she screamed, lunging for me. Security guards appeared instantly, gently but firmly restraining her. I have one more thing to show everyone, Elliot announced, clicking to the final slide. It was a video compilation of Olivia's recent behavior, trying to break into my office, harassing my colleagues, even her confrontation with Austin yesterday, where she'd threatened to destroy me. This isn't fair, Olivia sobbed, all pretense crumbling. You stole everything from me. Gunnar was supposed to be mine. I didn't steal anything, I said softly. You betrayed me, remember? At my engagement party? And then you moved on, Gunnar added, stepping closer. You told everyone we were still together, but you're the one who ended things. The room had gone silent, watching the scene unfold. Olivia looked around wildly, seeking allies, but finding none. Security will escort you out now, our editor-in-chief said firmly. And Olivia, consider this a restraining order warning. As the guards led her away, she turned back one last time. This isn't over, Daphne. You'll see. Actually, it is over, Elliot interrupted, pulling me close. And we have something to announce. I reached for the chain around my neck, finally pulling out my engagement ring. The crowd's attention shifted as I slipped it onto my finger. You're engaged? Elise exclaimed, playing her part perfectly. When did this happen? Recently, I smiled, looking at Elliot. We were waiting for the right moment to announce it. The room erupted in applause and congratulations, the ugly scene with Olivia already fading into background chatter. Austin approached us, shaking his head. That was quite a show, he said. Are you okay? Better than okay, I replied, leaning into Elliot's embrace. It's finally over. As the gala returned to its celebratory atmosphere, I caught a glimpse of Olivia being escorted to a taxi outside. For a moment, I felt a twinge of sadness for the cousin I'd once loved. Don't, Elliot whispered, reading my expression. You gave her every chance. He was right. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let toxic people face the consequences of their actions. As I turned back to the party, to my friends and my future husband, I felt lighter than I had in years. The truth had finally set me free. The morning after the gala, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. News of Olivia's meltdown had spread through our family like wildfire. I was having breakfast with Elliot when Aunt Helen called for the third time. You should probably answer it, Elliot said, sliding more coffee my way. She'll keep calling. I picked up the phone. Hi, Aunt Helen. Daphne, her voice cracked. I owe you an apology. We all do. We believed her lies about you, and I'm so ashamed. It's okay, I said, but she cut me off. No, it's not okay. Olivia showed up at my house last night after the gala. She wasn't herself. We had to call for help. My stomach dropped. What kind of help? Medical help. She's being evaluated at Memorial Hospital. The doctors think she's having some kind of breakdown. Elliot reached across the table, taking my free hand as I processed this information. There's more, Aunt Helen continued. Gunnar's here. He wants to talk to you. Before I could protest, Gunnar's voice came through the phone. Daphne, can we meet? Please? There are things you need to know. I looked at Elliot, who nodded encouragingly. "The coffee shop on 7th, 1 hour," I said, then hung up. "Want me to come with you?" Elliot asked. "No, I need to do this alone, but stay close." He kissed my forehead. Always. An hour later, I sat across from Gunnar, 2 untouched coffees between us. He looked tired, older somehow. "I should have told you sooner," he started, "about Olivia's behavior after our breakup, the stalking, the threats, the lies she told everyone. Why didn't you? Why didn't—" "Shame, mostly. I was embarrassed that I'd left you for that." He ran his hands through his hair. "She started getting possessive, controlling. When I tried to end things, she threatened to hurt herself. And you believed her? At first. Then I realized she was manipulating me. But by then she'd already started telling everyone we were still together. When I met someone new, she went ballistic." My phone buzzed. A text from Elise. "Olivia's being transferred to a psychiatric facility. Family only allowed to visit." "I saw the videos Elliot collected," Gunnar continued. "The way she followed you, harassed you. I should have warned you." "Yes, you should have," I agreed. "But that's not why you wanted to meet, is it?" He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of threatening messages from Olivia. "She sent these last night after the gala. She's planning something for your wedding day. I thought you should know." I read the messages, each one more disturbing than the last. Threats to expose the truth, promises of revenge, increasingly unstable ramblings. "She won't be able to do anything," I said. "She's getting help now." "Don't underestimate her," Gunnar warned. I did, and look what happened. Just then, Austin rushed into the coffee shop looking frantic. "Daphne, you need to see this." He held up his tablet, showing Olivia's social media page. She'd somehow posted from the hospital, a long, rambling post about how she'd been set up at the gala, how she had real evidence she'd reveal at my wedding. "She's not giving up," Gunnar said quietly. My phone rang. Elliot. "Are you seeing this?" he asked when I answered. "Yeah, Austin just showed me." "I'm calling in some favors at the paper. We're going to get a restraining order, make sure she can't get near the wedding." Gunnar stood up. "I should go, but Daphne, I really am sorry, for everything." After he left, Austin sat down in his place. "The family's in shock. No one knew how bad it had gotten." "I did," I said. "I just didn't want to believe it." My phone buzzed again, Ava this time. "Security at the hospital says Olivia's demanding her phone be returned. She's getting aggressive." "What are you going to do?" Austin asked. I looked at my engagement ring, thinking about Elliot, about our future. "We're going to have our wedding, and if Olivia tries anything, she'll have to get through all of us first," Austin finished. Back home, Elliot was waiting with takeout and a determined expression. I talked to the paper's lawyers. The restraining order will be ready tomorrow. "Thank you," I said, curling into his arms. "For everything." "Hey," he tilted my chin up. "We're in this together. Whatever she tries, we'll handle it." As we sat there, my phone kept lighting up with messages of support from family and friends. Each one a reminder that I wasn't alone anymore, that love was stronger than hate. "Our wedding will be perfect," Elliot promised, "because we'll be together." He was right. Let Olivia plot and scheme from her hospital bed. This time I had truth on my side, and truth, as they say, is the best defense. "Are you ready?" Elise asked, adjusting my veil. Through the church's window, I could see guests arriving, security guards discreetly positioned at every entrance. "More than ready," I smiled, touching the emerald ring that would soon have a companion. "Security checked everyone coming in," Ava reported, rushing into the bridal suite. "No sign of Olivia." "She's still in the facility," Austin added, poking his head in. "I just spoke with Aunt Helen. They've increased her supervision after she tried to leave yesterday." My phone buzzed one last time before I'd have to turn it off for the ceremony. It was a message from Gunnar. "She's safe and supervised. I'm making sure of it. Be happy, Daphne. You deserve it." "Time to go," Elise announced, taking my phone. "No more drama. This is your moment." The church doors opened, and my father took my arm. The familiar wedding march began, but this time, Everything felt different. Right. Elliot waited at the altar, his face lighting up as I appeared. Our guests stood, smiling, supportive. Family and friends who'd stood by us through everything. Halfway down the aisle, a commotion erupted near the back doors. My heart stopped for a moment, but it was just a late guest dropping their program. The security guards didn't even flinch. "You okay?" my father whispered. "Perfect," I replied and meant it. Elliot took my hands as I reached him, his thumbs brushing over my knuckles in that familiar, comforting way. "Dearly beloved," the officiant began, but was interrupted by the church doors bursting open. Everyone turned, expecting Olivia, but instead it was Aunt Helen, looking flustered but relieved. "Sorry I'm late," she whispered loudly, sliding into a pew. "I had to make sure everything was taken care of." I caught her meaningful look and understood. She'd stayed at the facility until the last possible moment, ensuring Olivia couldn't interfere. The ceremony continued, and when Elliot said his vows, his voice was steady and sure. "Daphne, you showed me what real strength looks like, how to face darkness with grace and emerge stronger. I promise to stand beside you through whatever life brings, to protect our happiness and to love you more each day." My own vows came easily. "Elliot, you came into my life when I'd lost faith in love. You showed me that true partnership means facing challenges together. I promise to cherish our happiness, to fight for our future, and to love you completely." As we exchanged rings, my emerald engagement ring now paired with a simple gold band, I felt the last shadows of the past fade away. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant declared. "You may kiss the bride." Elliot pulled me close, and in that kiss was every promise we'd made, every obstacle we'd overcome. At the reception, Austin clinked his glass for the toast. "To Daphne and Elliot, proof that love doesn't just survive adversity, it thrives on it. And to family, the ones we're born with and the ones we choose." Elise followed with her own toast. As Daphne's best friend, I watched her rebuild herself from heartbreak. "Elliot, you didn't just love her. You understood her strength, supported her growth, and helped her find justice. You're the partner she deserves." During our first dance, Elliot whispered, "Look around. Everyone here chose to support our love story." He was right. The room was filled with people who'd helped us get here. Ava, who'd coordinated security. Austin, who'd bridged family divides. Elise, who'd never left my side. Even Gunnar, who'd finally done the right thing. As the night went on, my phone remained silent. No dramatic interruptions, no threats, no chaos, just love, laughter, and celebration. "Ready to go?" Elliot asked as the reception wound down. Our honeymoon flight would leave in a few hours. "Almost," I said, pulling him aside. "I need to tell you something first." His eyes widened as I whispered in his ear, then he broke into a brilliant smile. "Really? You're sure?" "Found out yesterday," I grinned. "Wanted to wait until we were married to tell you." He pulled me close, his hand resting protectively over my still flat stomach. "A new chapter," he murmured. "The best one yet," I agreed. As we said our goodbyes and headed for the exit, rose petals raining down, I realized something profound. Olivia hadn't just failed to destroy my happiness. She'd inadvertently led me to it. Every scheme, every lie had pushed me toward this moment, toward Elliot, toward true love. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our best beginnings, and sometimes the happiest endings come not from revenge, but from living well, loving deeply, and letting go. This was my story now, and it was just beginning.
The first sign something was wrong came from a lipstick stain. Not on his collar, that would have been too cliché. No, this one was on a crumpled receipt from the Grand Hotel that fell from Christian's jacket pocket while I was doing laundry. Room 412, paid in cash. The date was last Tuesday, when he'd claimed to be at a business conference in Seattle. I'm Shiloh, and until that moment, I thought I had the perfect life. Successful business with my husband, a beautiful home in Portland, and a sister who was my best friend. Funny how one small piece of paper can shatter everything you believe in. Alan, Has Christian been in today? I asked our operations manager when I arrived at the office that morning, trying to keep my voice steady. No, he called in sick. Said something about food poisoning. Alan shuffled uncomfortably, not meeting my eyes. Shiloh, there's something you should. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister Kaya. Need to talk. Emergency. Meet me at Cedar's Coffee in 20? The coffee shop was our special place. We'd been meeting there every Wednesday morning since she moved to Portland 5 years ago. But this was Monday, and something in my gut told me this wasn't about her wanting an extra sister chat. Cedar's was quiet when I arrived. Kaya sat in our usual corner booth, wearing oversized sunglasses despite the gloomy weather. Her hands trembled as she clutched her untouched latte. "I can't do this anymore," she blurted out before I could even sit down. "The guilt is eating me alive." "What guilt, Kaya?" She took off her sunglasses, revealing red-rimmed eyes. "Christian and we've been seeing each other for 8 months now." The words hit like a physical blow. 8 months? We never meant for it to happen. It just did. "We're in love, Shiloh. Really in love." I laughed. I couldn't help it. The absurdity of my sister using the word love to justify destroying my marriage was too much. "Where is he now?" My voice sounded strange, distant. "Packing. We're leaving today, moving to Chicago. He's already accepted a position there. The business, he's selling his share to Marcus Reynolds. The paperwork's already done." The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too hot. "Does Mom know?" "No one knows except you, now." Kaya reached for my hand. I pulled away. "We wanted to tell you face to face. We owe you that much." "How generous of you." "Shiloh, please, don't." I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Just don't." I drove straight to the office, hands shaking on the steering wheel. Alan was waiting by my parking spot, holding a thick folder. "I've been trying to tell you," he said, following me inside. "Christian's been making moves behind your back, but he made a mistake." I collapsed into my office chair. "What mistake?" "Remember last year when you inherited that money from your aunt? The money you invested in the business?" I nodded. Christian had handled all the paperwork. I'd trusted him completely. "Well, he listed you as sole proprietor instead of adding his name to the ownership documents. Probably thought he could change it later without you noticing. But he never did." "What are you saying?" "The business is yours, Shiloh. All of it. Legally, he can't sell anything to anyone." My phone buzzed again. "Christian, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. The house is yours. Consider it a parting gift. We'll be gone by tonight." I looked up at Alan, who'd been more loyal than my own blood. "Call our lawyer, now." "Already did. She's on her way." I picked up the photo on my desk. Me, Christian, and Kaya at last year's Christmas party. We were all smiling, all lying. I dropped it in the trash. "They think they're about to start their new life," I said, my voice steady for the first time that day. "But they have no idea what's coming." Alan smiled grimly. "What do you want to do first?" I opened my laptop, fingers hovering over the keyboard. "Everything. I want to do everything they thought I couldn't do without them, and I want to do it better." The day wasn't over yet, and already my life had imploded, but sitting there with Alan's unwavering support and the knowledge that I owned what Christian thought he was abandoning, I felt something unexpected. Freedom. My phone buzzed one last time. "Mom, honey, are you okay?" "Kaya just called me crying about moving to Chicago. What's going on?" I took a deep breath. The real work was about to begin. 3 weeks after they left, I was still finding traces of their betrayal everywhere. A forgotten earring of Kaya's under the couch. Christian's favorite coffee mug in the back of the cupboard. Each discovery felt like reopening a wound, but I refused to let it break me. "These projections are impressive," Alan said, spreading documents across my desk. Christian was sitting on potential gold mines and doing nothing with them. "Show me everything." We spent hours going through files, uncovering opportunities Christian had overlooked or deliberately ignored. The business, a software solutions company, had been coasting on outdated products while our competitors innovated. Look at this, Alan pointed to a dusty folder labeled Project Phoenix. It's a development plan from 2 years ago. Christian shut it down, said it was too risky. I flipped through the pages, my excitement growing. This is exactly what the healthcare sector needs right now. Why would he? Because he was planning his exit, Alan said quietly. Success would have meant staying committed to the company longer. My phone rang. Mom again. I'd been avoiding her calls, but I couldn't hide forever. Honey, please talk to me, she pleaded. I've left dozens of messages. I'm working, Mom. You're always working now. Come over for dinner tonight, please. I glanced at the mountain of work on my desk. I can't. Shiloh, Alan interrupted. Go. The work will still be here tomorrow. 2 hours later, I sat in Mom's familiar kitchen, the smell of her lasagna filling the air. She placed a glass of wine in front of me and sat down. Talk to me, baby. The whole story spilled out. The receipt, the coffee shop confession, the business ownership. Mom listened without interrupting, her face growing darker with each detail. I'll never speak to her again, she declared when I finished. Either of them. Mom, don't. They're dead to me. You're my daughter, and they hurt you. I need you to stay neutral, I said, surprising myself, because I'm about to make some big moves, and I don't want anyone to say I turned you against them. The next morning, my best friend Esme burst into my office, coffee in hand. I just heard from Sarah, who heard from Mike, that Christian's new job fell through. What? Apparently, the Chicago company withdrew their offer. Something about due diligence revealing issues. I smiled slightly. Alan had been busy making calls. Good, Esme declared. Now tell me about this Project Phoenix. Alan filled me in. I pulled out the folder. It's a healthcare management system that could revolutionize how smaller clinics handle patient data. Christian thought it was too ambitious, but you're not Christian, Esme finished. My consulting firm has contacts in healthcare. Let me make some calls. By the end of the week, we had our first meeting with potential investors. I walked into the boardroom wearing the power suit I'd bought the day after they left, my confidence growing with each step. Ms. Shiloh, the lead investor, greeted me. Your proposal is intriguing. But why now? Why hasn't your company pursued this before? Because sometimes you need a fresh perspective to see old opportunities, I replied. We've been playing it safe for too long. It's time to take calculated risks. The meeting lasted 2 hours. When they left, we had preliminary approval for funding. Holy shit, Alan whispered. They're actually going for it. They're going for it because it's brilliant, Esme said, hugging me. You're brilliant. That evening, as I was leaving the office, I found a small package on my desk. Inside was an old photo album. A note from our receptionist explained she'd found it while cleaning out Christian's old office. The photos showed the company's early days. Christian and me, young and excited, building our dream together. Except it hadn't been our dream at all. It had been mine, and he'd been planning his escape all along. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The first investor payment had cleared. Project Phoenix was officially funded. Alan, I called out. He appeared in my doorway. Call a staff meeting for tomorrow morning. It's time to tell everyone where we're heading. Already done. Oh, and Shiloh, you might want to see this. He handed me his tablet. On the screen was a job listing in Chicago. Christian's resume was posted publicly, seeking new opportunities. Karma works fast, Alan said with a slight smirk. I handed the tablet back. Not fast enough. But we're just getting started. That night, I didn't go home right away. Instead, I sat in my office, looking out at the Portland skyline, making plans. Christian and Kaya thought they were leaving me with nothing. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. 2 months into Project Phoenix, and the office was humming with energy I hadn't felt in years. Developers worked late into the night. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. The excitement was contagious. The beta testing results are in, Alan announced, bursting into my office one morning. They're better than we expected. I was reviewing the latest financial reports. Our stock had jumped 15% since announcing the project. How much better? The small clinics love it. They're asking when they can implement the full version. My phone lit up with a text from Esme. Turn on channel 8 now. I grabbed the remote and flipped on the office TV. There was Christian, being interviewed outside what looked like a courthouse in Chicago. Allegations of fraud are completely unfounded, he was saying, looking thinner and grayer than I remembered. These charges are merely a misunderstanding. Alan whistled low. Looks like his new venture isn't going so well. I turned up the volume as the reporter continued. Sources say investors lost over $2 million in what authorities are calling a sophisticated scheme. Should we be worried about this affecting us? Alan asked. No, I said, switching off the TV. We cut all ties. He has no connection to us anymore. My desk phone buzzed. Ms. Shiloh? There's a Patricia Olson here to see you. Mom never visited the office. Something was wrong. She burst in before I could respond, Alan tactfully closing the door behind her. Kaya called me, she said, dropping into a chair. She's desperate. They're broke, Shiloh. The fraud charges. Christian's legal fees. Not my problem. She's living in a motel. She asked to come home. I kept my voice steady. And what did you say? I told her she made her bed. Mom's eyes were steel. But she's still my daughter. I thought you should know. Before I could respond, Esme rushed in, tablet in hand. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this, now. She placed the tablet in front of me. On screen was an email from the largest healthcare provider in the Pacific Northwest. They wanted an exclusive meeting about Project Phoenix. They're interested in a partnership, Esme said, practically bouncing. This could triple our market reach overnight. Mom stood up, straightening her jacket. I'll let you work. Just think about what I said. After she left, Esme perched on my desk. Think about what? Nothing important. I focused on the email. When can we meet with them? Tomorrow morning. Their CEO is flying in specifically for this. The next day, I stood in front of our boardroom windows, watching a sleek corporate helicopter land on our building's helipad. Showtime. The meeting exceeded all expectations. Our presentation was flawless. The demos worked perfectly, and the healthcare CEO couldn't stop nodding. This is exactly what the industry needs, she said, signing the preliminary partnership agreement. Your vision is extraordinary. As we walked her back to the helipad, she turned to me. I have to ask, why didn't you develop this years ago? Your company had the capability. Sometimes you need to lose everything to see what's possible, I replied. Back in my office, celebrating with champagne, Alan handed me an envelope. This came by courier while we were in the meeting. Inside was a handwritten letter from Kaya. Sis, I know you probably hate me. You should. What we did was unforgivable. Christian isn't who I thought he was. He's changed. Or maybe this is who he always was. I'm scared, Shiloh. I made a terrible mistake. I crumpled the letter and threw it in the trash. Bad news? Esme asked. No news, I replied, pouring more champagne. Just the past trying to interfere with the future. That evening, as the office cleared out, Alan lingered in my doorway. The partnership announcement goes public tomorrow morning. Our stock is going to skyrocket. Good. Schedule a company-wide bonus. Everyone who stayed loyal deserves to share in this success. Already done, he paused. I heard about Christian, the fraud charges. Alan. Just saying, karma's a beautiful thing. I smiled, remembering Christian's face on the news. Yes, it is. My phone buzzed with another text from Mom. Kaya's back in Portland, staying at the Riverside Motel, room 116, just so you know. I deleted the message without responding. Let her stay there. Let her feel what it's like to lose everything. The city lights flickered on outside my window as dusk settled over Portland. Somewhere out there, my sister was probably crying in a cheap motel room while her world fell apart. Meanwhile, I was signing partnership deals worth millions. Ready to head out? Esme asked, code in hand. I looked at my desk, at the partnership agreement, at everything I'd built from the ashes they'd left behind. Actually, I said, I think I'll stay a bit longer. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. 6 months after the healthcare partnership, I barely recognized our company. The office had expanded to 3 floors, our staff had doubled, and Project Phoenix was revolutionizing medical data management across the country. Portland Business Journal wants to do a cover story, Alan said, dropping the latest issue on my desk. They're calling you the Phoenix Queen, the woman who rose from betrayal to build an empire. Tell them no. Shiloh, you can't keep turning down press. The board can deal with it. I gestured to the stack of reports on my desk. Our numbers speak for themselves. My phone lit up. Esme, turn on your computer, now, video call. I clicked accept, and Esme's excited face filled my screen. You're never going to believe who just walked into my consulting firm looking for a job. Who? Christian. The name still had the power to make my stomach clench. What did you do? Told him we don't work with people under federal investigation. You should have seen his face when he recognized me. He looks terrible, by the way. That fancy suit of his. Definitely seen better days. A knock at my door interrupted us. Mom stood there, looking uncomfortable. I'll call you back, I told Esme, ending the call. Mom, what's wrong? She sat down heavily. I saw Kaya yesterday, at the grocery store. And? She's working there, stocking shelves. Mom twisted her hands in her lap. She tried to talk to me. I just walked away. Good. Is it? She's still my daughter, Shiloh. And she's suffering. She made her choice. She made a mistake. A terrible one, yes, but Alan burst in. Sorry to interrupt, but the Reuters article just dropped. We're trending nationwide. I pulled up the article on my screen. Software innovation transforms healthcare. How one woman's betrayal led to industry revolution. They're calling you an inspiration, Alan said proudly. The comments section is blowing up. Mom stood up. I can see you're busy. Just think about what I said. People can change. After she left, Alan lingered. Everything okay? Fine. What's next on the agenda? Board meeting in an hour. Quarterly projections are through the roof. Oh, and he hesitated. Christian's lawyer called. He wants to discuss a settlement. I laughed. For what? He's claiming partial ownership of Project Phoenix. Says the initial concept was his. Send them the dated documents proving otherwise. And Alan, make sure our lawyer reminds them about those fraud charges in Chicago. The board meeting was a triumph. Every projection exceeded expectations, and Project Phoenix was expanding faster than we could handle. We need to hire more developers, our CTO announced. The demand is overwhelming. Approved, I said. Whatever you need. Walking back to my office, I overheard 2 employees talking. Did you see who was in the lobby earlier? Christian. Security had to escort him out. No way. What did Shiloh do? She didn't even go down, just had security remove him. Ice cold. After what he did, he deserved it. I smiled, remembering the security footage I'd watched earlier. Christian, disheveled and desperate, trying to talk his way past reception. How the mighty had fallen. Esme called again that evening. Dinner? You need to get out of that office. Can't. Too much work. Shiloh, you're the talk of the tech world. You've won. Take a victory lap. This isn't about winning. No? Then what's it about? Before I could answer, my assistant buzzed in. Ms. Shiloh, there's a delivery for you. A large envelope sat on my desk. Inside was a magazine, Modern Bride. The subscription label showed Kaya's name, but her old address at my house. On the cover, a happy couple smiled beneath the headline, Fresh Starts, Beginning Again After Betrayal. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I see you're doing well. We should talk. See. I blocked the number and dropped the magazine in the shredder. Actually, I told Esme, dinner sounds good. Let's celebrate. At the restaurant, over expensive wine and better company, I finally felt the weight of success. Not just financial success, but the satisfaction of proving them wrong, of showing Christian and Kaya exactly what they'd walked away from. To the Phoenix Queen, Esme toasted, raising her glass. To Karma, I replied, clinking glasses. My phone buzzed one last time that night. Mom, Kaya asked about you today, said she sees your name everywhere. She's proud of you, despite everything. I turned off my phone. Tomorrow would bring more victories, more growth, more proof that their betrayal had been the best thing that ever happened to me. Let them watch from the sidelines. Let them see exactly what they lost. The morning everything changed, started normally enough. I was reviewing acquisition proposals when Alan rushed in, his face pale. Christian's been arrested. I looked up from my computer. What? It's all over the news. The Chicago fraud charges stuck. They're saying he could face up to 15 years. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Mom, have you seen? She asked, her voice shaking. Kaya's hysterical. She's been calling me nonstop. What does she expect you to do? She needs money for his lawyer. Good lawyers cost. No. Shiloh, please. Just talk to her. I have a meeting. I hung up, but my hands were trembling. Esme appeared in my doorway 20 minutes later. You okay? I saw the news. I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? Because despite everything, you were married to him for 8 years. It's okay to feel something. A commotion outside interrupted us. Through the glass walls of my office, I saw security escorting someone through the lobby. Kaya, please, I heard her crying. Just 5 minutes. Shiloh, please. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. Before I could decide what to do, she broke free from security and burst into my office. Get her out, I told security, but Esme held up her hand. Give them a minute, she said quietly, ushering everyone out. Kaya looked terrible. Her designer clothes were replaced by worn jeans and a faded sweater. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. You have 30 seconds, I said. He's going to jail, Shiloh. Real jail. We have nothing left. He spent everything on lawyers. I'm working at a grocery store, living in a motel. Sounds like karma to me. I know we hurt you. What we did was unforgivable. But he's still your husband. Ex-husband. He's facing 15 years. Tears streamed down her face. Help us. Please. If not for him, then for me. I'm still your sister. No, I said quietly. You stopped being my sister the moment you chose him over me. I made a mistake. Is this what you want? To see us suffer? What I want is for you both to leave me alone, forever. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Her voice turned bitter. Perfect Shiloh, always so successful. You probably planned this somehow. I laughed. Planned what? Christian's fraud? His terrible decisions? That was all him. And you chose to go down with him. He loves me. Does he? Where is he now? Still in Chicago, leaving you to clean up his mess? Security appeared at the door again. This time, I nodded. Wait, Kaya called as they led her away. Mom said you used to read my bedtime stories when we were little, when I was scared of the dark. Do you remember? I turned away, staring out the window. Get her out. Later that evening, Alan brought in the daily reports. Stocks up another 12%. The arrest actually helped us. Shows were completely separated from his actions. Good. There's something else. He hesitated. Christian's lawyer sent over a proposal. He's willing to sign a statement clearing us of any connection to the fraud charges in exchange for what? Help with his legal fees and a job for Kaya. I started laughing and couldn't stop. The audacity. Should I tell them no? My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Kaya's moving in with me. I couldn't leave her homeless. Please don't be angry. Another buzz, an unknown number. I know you hate us, but I'm begging you, help him. I can't lose him. K. Shiloh. Alan was waiting for an answer. I thought about Kaya reading bedtime stories, about Christian's smile the day we opened the business, about how easily they'd thrown it all away. Tell them, I paused, something shifting inside me. Tell them I'll think about it. Really? No, I straightened my spine. Tell them exactly what Christian told me the day they left. Consider it a parting gift. After Alan left, I sat in my darkening office, watching the city lights come on. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Mom, from unknown numbers, from people trying to break through the walls I'd built. Esme's words echoed in my head. It's okay to feel something. But what was I feeling? Satisfaction? Revenge? Or something else? Something that felt uncomfortably like emptiness. A final text came through. Mom again. She's crying herself to sleep in your old bedroom. Just like when you were kids. Remember. I did remember. That's what hurt the most. My finger hovered over the reply button. Then I turned off my phone, gathered my things, and walked out into the night, leaving the ghosts of the past behind in my empty office. You're going to meet them? Esme nearly choked on her coffee. After everything, I stared at the email on my screen. Christian's lawyer had been persistent, and after 2 weeks of messages, I'd finally agreed to a meeting. Not for them, I said. For me. I need to look them in the eye one last time. Want me there? No, but stay close. The meeting was set for noon at my lawyer's office, neutral ground. I arrived early, watching through the window as a taxi pulled up. Christian stepped out first, handcuffed, accompanied by 2 officers. His designer suits were replaced by department store clearance. Kaya followed, clutching a manila envelope. Remember, my lawyer whispered, as they were led in. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Christian looked older, grayer. Prison waiting had aged him years and months. Kaya wouldn't meet my eyes. Thank you for meeting us, Christian's lawyer began. Make it quick. Christian cleared his throat. Shiloh, I know we hurt you. Is that what you call it? I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but there's something you need to know about Project Phoenix. I sat up straighter. What about it? The original concept. It wasn't entirely mine to abandon. Kaya finally looked at me. Show her. She slid the manila envelope across the table. Inside were old documents, dated 3 years ago. Project Phoenix proposals, but with a crucial difference. They had my signature on them. I don't understand, I said. You were sick that week, Christian said quietly. Food poisoning. You signed a bunch of documents from home without really reading them. I buried these ones. Why? Because Project Phoenix was your idea originally. You mentioned it at dinner one night. Revolutionizing healthcare data management. I took your idea, developed it in secret, then killed it because you were already planning to leave. I finished. If it had succeeded then, you would have gotten the credit. I couldn't let that happen. My lawyer leaned forward. Are you admitting to corporate sabotage? I'm admitting I was wrong, Christian said. About everything. The project. Kaya, you. Don't, I warned. Shiloh, Kaya spoke up. We're not asking for money anymore, or jobs. We needed you to know the truth. The truth, I laughed bitterly. The truth is you both betrayed me. The truth is you watched me suffer and walked away. The truth is I never deserved you, Christian interrupted. Either as a wife or a business partner, I was jealous of your vision, your drive. So I tried to destroy it. And when that didn't work, I tried to steal your sister's love instead. It wasn't love, Kaya said softly. It was rebellion, against always being the lesser sister, the screw-up. I wanted to take something that was yours, just once. Well, congratulations, you did. And look where it got us. She gestured to Christian's handcuffs. While you took my betrayal and turned it into an empire. Are we done here? I asked my lawyer. Actually, Christian's lawyer spoke up. We have a proposal. These documents prove Mr. Lewis committed corporate espionage. In exchange for not pressing charges, he's willing to make a full statement clearing your company of any connection to his fraud cases. I stood up. Keep your proposal. Keep your confession. Keep your guilt. I don't need any of it. Shiloh, wait. Kaya called as I reached the door. There's one more thing. About Mom. I turned back. What about her? She's sick, really sick. She didn't want you to know because of everything happening with us, but she needs both her daughters right now. The room suddenly felt too small, too warm. She's been protecting you, Kaya continued. Like you used to protect me. Remember? I did remember. I remembered everything. Bedtime stories, scraped knees, first heartbreaks. I remembered being a big sister. The officers need to transport Mr. Lewis back now, his lawyer said gently. I watched as they led Christian away, Kaya trailing behind them like a lost shadow. At the door, she turned back one last time. I miss my sister, she whispered. After they left, my lawyer gathered the documents. Do you want to pursue the corporate espionage angle? We'd have a strong case. I thought about Mom, sick and trying to protect everyone. About Kaya, broken but finally honest. About Christian, paying for his choices in ways I hadn't even planned. No, I said finally. I think karma's done enough damage already. My phone buzzed. Esme, you okay? I looked at the documents proving Project Phoenix had been mine all along. Proof I'd never needed, because deep down, I'd always known my own strength. I will be, I texted back. Then I called Mom. The hospital waiting room was too quiet. Mom's surgery was scheduled for 8, but I'd been here since 6, watching nurses rush past and families huddle in corners. Here, Esme handed me a coffee. Any word? Still in pre-op. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Kaya. Are you going to tell her you're here? Before I could answer, the elevator doors opened. Kaya stepped out, stopping short when she saw me. What are you doing here? She asked. Same as you. She's my mother, too. We sat on opposite ends of the waiting area, the silence heavy between us. A nurse approached with forms. Family of Patricia. I'm her daughter, we said simultaneously. The nurse looked between us. We need some medical history information. I'll do it. Kaya stood up. No, I interrupted. Mom's allergic to penicillin. You always forget that. Ladies, the nurse said firmly. Perhaps you could both help? Working together, we filled out Mom's forms. It was strange, sitting next to Kaya, our shoulders almost touching as we wrote. Like muscle memory, remembering how to be sisters. Christian's sentencing is next week, she said quietly, as the nurse left. I know. 5 years. They reduced it for cooperation. Good for him. I'm not going with him, she blurted out. When he gets out, we're not, Kaya. Family of Patricia. A doctor appeared, still in surgical scrubs. We both jumped up. The surgery was successful, but there were complications. She's asking for both of you. Mom looked small in the hospital bed, tubes and monitors everywhere. Her eyes lit up when we entered. My girls, she whispered. Together. Don't talk, Mom, I said, taking her hand. Need to. Her voice was raspy. Need you both to listen. Kaya took her other hand, and Mom squeezed our fingers together. Life's too short, she said. For hate, for regret. Promise me. Mom, please rest, Kaya pleaded. Promise me you'll try to be sisters again. The monitors beeped steadily as silence filled the room. Finally, I spoke. I can't promise that. Shiloh, Mom started. No, let me finish. I can't promise we'll be sisters again. But, I looked at Kaya, I can promise to try to forgive. Tears rolled down Kaya's cheeks. I don't deserve it. No, you don't. But Mom does. A nurse came in to check Mom's vitals, and we stepped into the hallway. Kaya wiped her eyes. I filed for divorce yesterday, she said. Christian doesn't know yet. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right, about everything. He didn't love me, he just wanted to hurt you. My phone buzzed. Alan, board meeting in an hour. Critical decisions needed. Go, Kaya said, reading my expression. I'll stay with her. I can't leave. Yes, you can. You built an empire. Go run it. I'll text you any updates. I hesitated at the elevator. Kaya? Yeah. Mom's allergic to morphine too. Don't forget to tell them. She nodded, a ghost of our old connection passing between us. The board meeting was tense. Our biggest competitor was making a move to acquire us. It's a generous offer, the CFO argued. It's not about money, I replied. It's about legacy, about building something that lasts. Like family, Alan whispered beside me. My phone lit up with a text from Kaya. Mom's awake, asking for you. Meeting adjourned, I announced. We're not selling, ever. Back at the hospital, I found Kaya in the cafeteria. Coffee? She offered. Thanks, I sat down. Remember when we were kids and Mom had her appendix out? We stayed in the waiting room all night. You were scared. You told me stories until I fell asleep. We sat in silence, sipping bad hospital coffee. I'm moving back to Seattle, she said finally. After Mom recovers, fresh start. Good. Shiloh, thank you for not pressing charges about Project Phoenix, for not destroying us completely when you could have. I didn't do it for you. I know, you did it for you, because you're stronger than both of us. My phone buzzed again. The competitor's final offer, even higher than before. Excuse me, I said, standing. I need to make a call. Go ahead. Kaya smiled sadly. You built something amazing from our betrayal. Don't let anyone take that from you. I walked to the window, looking out at the city where I'd lost everything, and found myself. Behind me, my sister waited. In front of me, my empire beckoned. Sometimes the hardest part of winning isn't the victory itself. It's deciding what to do after you've won. The answer is still no, I told the board, closing my laptop with finality. We're not selling. Through my office window, I could see Mom walking in the garden of her rehabilitation center, Kaya steadying her arm. The autumn leaves were turning, matching Mom's new copper wig. My phone buzzed. Alan. Christian's sentencing is in an hour. Thought you should know. I grabbed my coat. Meeting adjourned. The courthouse was packed with reporters. I slipped in the back just as the judge began speaking. Christian stood at the front, shoulders slumped. Kaya wasn't there. 5 years, the judge announced, with possibility of parole after 3. As they led him away, Christian's eyes met mine. I didn't look away. He nodded once, understanding passing between us. Not forgiveness, but acknowledgement. An ending. My phone lit up. Kaya, Mom's asking for you. Says it's important. I found them in the garden. Mom looking stronger than she had in weeks. Sit. She patted the bench beside her. Both of you. Mom, if this is another attempt at... Quiet, Shiloh. Listen. She pulled out an old envelope. I found this while cleaning out the attic. It's from when you girls were little. Inside was a crayon drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands. Best sisters forever. Written in wobbly children's handwriting. Kaya drew this, Mom said. The day Shiloh defended her from bullies at school. Mom, please. I'm not finished. She pulled out another paper. And this is from last week. It was a news article about Project Phoenix, but with handwritten notes in the margins. Kaya's handwriting. She did it. She really did it. I'm so proud. You've been writing about me? I asked Kaya. She blushed. Every success, every milestone. I kept track of all of them. Why? Because you're still my sister, even when I didn't deserve to call you that. Mom took our hands, just like in the hospital. Life gave you both second chances. What you do with them is up to you. My phone buzzed. Esme, competitor's final deadline in an hour. Need your answer. Go, Mom said. But remember what matters. Back at the office, Alan was waiting with the contract. They've offered 20% above market value. It's unprecedented. I stared at the signature line, thinking about second chances, about choices. Call them, I said. To accept? To tell them I'm buying them instead. His jaw dropped. What? Project Phoenix isn't just software anymore. It's about healing, about fixing what's broken. I smiled. Tell them I'll give them 10% above their last offer, but we maintain controlling interest. That's brilliant. No, I said. That's karma. That evening I drove to Mom's rehab center one last time. She was moving home tomorrow, strong enough to manage on her own again. Kaya was packing Mom's things when I arrived. Seattle's going to be good for you, I said. How did you? Mom told me about the job offer, the fresh start. She folded a sweater carefully. I'm scared. Good. Fear means you're growing. Like you did after we left. No, I sat down. I didn't grow because you left. I grew because I chose to. She nodded, understanding. The company, I saw the news about the acquisition. Congratulations. Thanks, I hesitated. You know, we're expanding to Seattle. Her hands stilled. Oh? The healthcare network there needs Project Phoenix. We'll need someone who knows the system, someone looking for redemption. Shiloh. Entry-level position, no favors. You'll have to earn every promotion. Why? Because Mom's right. Life's too short for hate, but it's also too short for regret. I stood up. Think about it. As I turned to leave, she called out, "Hey, sis." I stopped. It was the first time she'd called me that since the betrayal. That drawing, Best Sisters Forever, I meant it then. I know. I looked back at her. Maybe someday we'll mean it again. Outside, the autumn wind scattered leaves across the parking lot. My phone buzzed with another message about the acquisition, but for once, I didn't check it immediately. Instead, I thought about a little girl drawing stick figures, about a woman tracking her sister's successes, even through shame, about a mother's love strong enough to bridge any divide. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemies, but in choosing not to. Sometimes healing comes not from forgiveness, but from the willingness to try. I got in my car and drove toward tomorrow, leaving the past where it belonged, behind me, but not forgotten. Just forgiven enough to move forward.
The words hit like daggers across the dining room table. "What a waste of potential," Laurel said, not even bothering to lower her voice. "All that education, that big house, and no children to fill it. I'm Violet, and at 35, I've learned to steel myself against my family's judgment. But something about today felt different. Maybe it was the way Hugo nodded along with Laurel's words, or how Aunt Margaret's lips pressed into that familiar, disapproving line. "Pass the potatoes, please," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The annual family reunion at grandmother's house had become an exercise in endurance. "You know, Vi," Hugo chimed in, swirling his wine glass, "my Sarah just had her third. Nothing compares to the joy of family." "I have family," I replied, gesturing around the table. "Right here." Laurel snorted. "That's not the same and you know it. You can't take your career to Christmas morning or hold it when you're old." I felt Allison's hand squeeze my knee under the table. Thank God she'd agreed to come as my +1. The room felt suffocating, with its dated wallpaper and generations of family photos watching from every wall. "Actually," I started, but Laurel wasn't finished. "Remember when we were little and you used to play house? What happened to that little girl who wanted a family of her own? She grew up and realized there's more than one way to make a difference," I said, pushing my chair back. "Excuse me, I need some air." As I headed toward the garden, I heard Hugo's voice. Always so dramatic. "This is why children need both parents. Gives them stability." The evening air hit my face like a blessing. I found myself at the old oak tree, the same one I'd climbed countless times as a child. Allison appeared beside me, offering a glass of wine. "They're awful," she said simply. "They're family," I took a long sip. "Sometimes I wonder if those two concepts are mutually exclusive." "You know what the real waste is?" Allison leaned against the tree. "The energy you spend caring what they think." Before I could respond, Valerie, the only cousin who'd ever shown me any kindness, stepped out onto the porch. "Vi, grandmother's asking for you. Time for the family photo." I smoothed my dress and plastered on a smile. "Coming." Back inside, grandmother sat in her favourite armchair, surrounded by great-grandchildren. Laurel's kids were front and centre, of course. As everyone arranged themselves, I found myself pushed to the back. "Violet, dear," grandmother called out, "why don't you stand behind Hugo? We can barely see you anyway." I caught Laurel's smirk as I moved into position. The photographer counted down, and just before the flash, Hugo whispered, "At least you won't have to worry about inheritance fights with your kids." The camera clicked, capturing my forced smile for posterity, another perfect family moment for the wall. Later, as dessert was being served, I escaped to the study. The room still smelled like grandfather's pipe tobacco, though he'd been gone 5 years. I found myself staring out the window at the city lights below, wondering what he would have thought of all this. "They mean well, you know," came a voice behind me. It was Edmund, my father's old friend and business partner. "They just don't understand people who choose different paths. Do they have to understand?" I turned to face him. Couldn't they just accept? Edmund's weathered face creased with sympathy. "Sometimes people's criticism says more about their own insecurities than your choices." A burst of laughter from the dining room made me wince. Laurel's voice carried above the others, regaling everyone with stories of her daughter's dance recital. "I should get back," I said, but Edmund caught my arm. "Your grandfather used to say something about family trees," he said, "that the strongest ones have branches growing in all directions." He paused. "He was proud of you, Vi. Never doubt that." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. As I returned to the dining room, Laurel was collecting her children's coats. "Leaving so soon?" I asked, more out of politeness than curiosity. "Some of us have school runs in the morning," she replied. "But hey, you wouldn't know about that, would you?" I watched them file out, Hugo and his family close behind. The house felt emptier, but somehow less suffocating. Through the window, I could see them loading into their minivans, their perfect nuclear families intact. But as I stood there, something shifted inside me. Their words, instead of crushing me, began to feel like fuel for something else, something bigger than their narrow definition of family. I just didn't know what that something was. Yet. "You need to stop letting them live rent-free in your head," Alison said, pushing a steaming mug of coffee across her kitchen counter. 3 days had passed since the family reunion, and I still couldn't shake the hollow feeling in my chest. I know, but..." "No buts," Alison cut me off. "Let's get out of here. The park's beautiful this time of year, and you need vitamin D more than you need another coffee." 20 minutes later, we were walking through Memorial Park, fallen leaves crunching under our feet. Children's laughter drifted from the playground, and for once it didn't feel like an accusation. "I just wish I could show them that my life has meaning," I said, kicking at a pile of leaves. "That I'm not just A soccer ball rolled into my path, followed by a teenage girl with wild curly hair. "Sorry?" she called out, scooping up the ball. Something in her eyes caught my attention, a familiar kind of loneliness. "No problem," I smiled. "Great day for soccer." "Yeah, when you have someone to play with," she replied, glancing back at an empty field. "I'm Michaela. The other kids from the home were supposed to come, but..." She shrugged. "The home?" Alison asked. "Grace House. It's okay, as group homes go, but they're understaffed today. Again." Michaela tucked the ball under her arm. Most of the little ones had to stay back. Before I could respond, a harried-looking woman in a worn cardigan hurried over. "Michaela, there you are. We need to head back. Sarah's having another anxiety attack." "But Ms. Roberts, you promised we could stay an hour." Michaela's voice cracked slightly. "I've been good all week." "I'm sorry, sweetie, we just don't have enough staff today to..." "I could stay with her," I heard myself say. "I mean, if that's allowed. I'm Violet. And this is Alison. We could keep an eye on her while she plays." Ms. Roberts hesitated, studying us. "Do you have experience with children?" "I run my own business," I said. "Background checks, references. I can provide whatever you need." After a quick verification of my ID and a few phone calls, Ms. Roberts agreed to let Michaela stay under our supervision. The girl's face lit up like Christmas morning. "Want to play?" she asked, holding up the ball. "I'm pretty good." For the next hour, we kicked the ball around, talked and laughed. Michaela told us about life at Grace House, the good parts and the bad, about dreams of college and becoming a doctor, about younger kids who needed more attention than the overwhelmed staff could provide. "Sometimes," she said, sitting cross-legged in the grass, "the little ones cry at night because they miss having someone to read them stories. Ms. Roberts tries, but she can't be everywhere at once." Alison shot me a knowing look. "Vi, you're doing that thing with your face." "What thing?" "The thing you do when you're about to change someone's life." I ignored her, focused on Michaela. "How many children are at Grace House?" 23 right now. It's over capacity, but where else can they go? She picked at the grass. Some of the older kids help out, but it's not the same as having actual family. The word family hit differently now. I thought about my empty house, my resources, my need to prove something to Laurel and Hugo, but this wasn't about them anymore. What if, I started slowly, what if there was a place, not just a house, but a real home, with enough staff and resources to give every child the attention they deserve? Michaela's eyes widened. You mean like a better group home? More than that. A sanctuary, where kids could feel safe, loved, supported. The idea was taking shape in my mind. With programs, education, counselling. Vi, Alison interrupted. Are you thinking what I think you're thinking? I have the means, I said. The connections, the space. My voice grew stronger with each word. Edmund's been telling me to diversify my investments. What better investment than this? Michaela looked between us, hope and skepticism warring on her face. People always talk about making things better, but nothing changes. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through contacts. Watch me. That evening, I sat in my home office surrounded by preliminary research. Licensing requirements, funding structures, staffing needs. The challenges were daunting, but for the first time in years, I felt truly alive. My phone buzzed. A text from Laurel. Hope you're not too lonely in that big empty house. Sarah's recital this weekend. You should come see what real fulfillment looks like. I smiled and set the phone aside without responding. On my computer screen, property listings for potential sanctuary locations filled the browser. Empty houses could be filled with more than just traditional families. They could be filled with purpose. And maybe, just maybe, that was the best revenge of all. A children's sanctuary? Edmund leaned back in his leather chair, studying the business plan I'd laid on his desk. That's ambitious. I've done the math, I said, pulling out more documents. With my savings and the right investors. The right investors might be hard to find. He tapped his pen against the desk. Children's homes aren't exactly known for their profit margins. This isn't about profit. I leaned forward. You should see these kids, Edmund. They need more than just a roof and basic care. Edmund's expression softened. I know that look, Vi. Your grandfather had the same one when he started his first company. He picked up my proposal again. But you'll need more than passion. You'll need money, I finished. That's why I'm meeting Hugo at the bank today. Edmund's eyebrows shot up. Hugo? Your cousin Hugo? He's the loan officer at First National. I don't have a choice. Just be careful, Edmund warned. Family and business can be a volatile mix. 2 hours later, I sat across from Hugo in his sterile office, watching him flip through my proposal with an increasingly skeptical expression. So, he said finally, you want to borrow $2 million to build a glorified orphanage? A sanctuary, I corrected, with educational programs, therapy services, and... Vi, he interrupted. Let's be real. You're having some sort of crisis because the family's been pressuring you about kids. This has nothing to do with that. Really? He closed the folder. Because it looks like you're trying to prove something. Playing mother to other people's unwanted children won't fill that void. I gripped the arms of my chair. They're not unwanted, they're underserved, and this isn't about filling voids, it's about creating something meaningful. Meaningful? Hugo laughed. You want meaningful? Have your own kids. Build a real family. This? He tapped the folder. This is just expensive therapy. Are you rejecting my application? I'm trying to help you, he said, his voice dripping with condescension. As family. This plan isn't viable, the risk assessment alone. Save it. I stood up, gathering my papers. I'll find another way. Vi, wait. Hugo's voice stopped me at the door. You know what your problem is. You've always tried to be different just for the sake of being different. But sometimes, tradition exists for a reason. I turned back. You know what your problem is, Hugo? You've never understood that family can mean more than blood. The slam of his office door behind me was satisfying, but my hands were shaking as I reached my car. I pulled out my phone and dialed Edmund. That bad? He asked. Worse? I started the engine. But I'm not giving up. There has to be another way. Come back to my office, I might have some ideas. An hour later, I sat with Edmund and his network of contacts on speakerphone. The conversation jumped between funding options, property considerations, and licensing requirements. The old Riverside Manor could work, one voice suggested. It's been on the market for months, and the owner's motivated to sell. And I know some people at the Thompson Foundation, another added. They've been looking to fund innovative social projects. Edmund scribbled notes. See, Vi, there's always another path. As the call ended, my phone buzzed with a text from Laurel. Hugo told me about your little project. Getting desperate much? I showed Edmund the message. He shook his head. Don't let them distract you. Focus on what matters. I am. I pulled up the photo of Michaela I'd taken at the park. This matters. All of them matter. Then let's make it happen. Edmund started writing names. I'll set up meetings with potential donors. You focus on the property and licensing requirements. Edmund? I hesitated. Why are you helping me? He smiled. Because 30 years ago, your grandfather helped me when everyone said my ideas were too risky. Sometimes the best legacies aren't the ones we're born into, but the ones we choose to build. As I drove home that evening, I passed families in parks, on sidewalks, in restaurant windows. Each scene used to feel like a reminder of what I lacked. Now they felt like inspiration for what I could create. My phone buzzed again. Hugo. Hope you're not too disappointed about the loan. Some dreams aren't meant to come true. I pulled into my driveway looking at my too-quiet house. Tomorrow I'd start the paperwork for Riverside Manor. I'd meet with the Thompson Foundation. I'd prove that dreams don't need anyone's permission to come true. And maybe, just maybe, I'd show Hugo, Laurel, and everyone else that family isn't about who you're born to. It's about who you choose to fight for. Welcome to Hope Haven. I stood in front of the renovated Riverside Manor, watching as Michaela's eyes widened at the sight of the freshly painted walls and new playground equipment. This is really happening? She asked, clutching her backpack. We're really moving in today? You and 7 others to start, I nodded. Once we get our systems in place, we'll be able to take in more. Ms. Roberts emerged from the van with 2 smaller children clinging to her legs. It's beautiful, Violet. I can't believe you did all this in 6 months. She had help, Edmund called from the front steps, where he was directing movers with furniture. Lots of it. The Thompson Foundation had come through with matching funds. Local businesses donated supplies. Volunteers painted walls and assembled furniture. Even Valerie had secretly contributed, though she made me promise not to tell Laurel or Hugo. Can I see my room? Michaela asked. Our room, piped up Sophie, a 7-year-old with missing front teeth. Ms. Violet said we get to be roommates. As we toured the house, I watched the children's faces light up at each discovery. The library with reading nooks, the art room with endless supplies, the kitchen where they could learn to cook, each space designed to feel like home, not an institution. And this, I said, opening a door, is the homework centre, complete with tutors 3 times a week. Trying to turn them all into workaholics like you? Laurel's voice cut through the excitement. She stood in the doorway, designer purse clutched tight. What are you doing here? I asked, instinctively stepping between her and the children. Charity board meeting nearby. Thought I'd see this project for myself. Her eyes swept the room dismissively. Quite a lot of money to spend on other people's problems. Before I could respond, Michaela stepped forward. We're not problems. We're people. Laurel blinked, clearly not expecting resistance. Of course, dear. I just meant... I know what you meant, Michaela continued, but Ms. Violet sees us as family, not charity cases. Family? Laurel laughed. Sweetie, real family shows up, Sophie interrupted, grabbing my hand, like Ms. Violet does. I squeezed her hand, fighting back tears. Laurel, if you're not here to support what we're doing, I'll have to ask you to leave. Fine. She adjusted her purse, but don't come crying to me when this all falls apart. After she left, Edmund found me in my office, staring at the family photo from the reunion. You okay? Better than okay, I said, turning to the window. Below, Michaela was teaching Sophie how to use the swing set. Look at them, Edmund. They're already becoming a family. Speaking of family, he handed me an envelope. Your grandmother's been asking about you. Inside was an invitation to Laurel's daughter's Sweet 16, another family gathering to endure. You don't have to go, Edmund said. Actually, I do. I smiled. Because next week we're hosting our first community dinner here and I want to invite everyone, including Laurel and Hugo. Are you sure that's wise? A knock at the door interrupted us. It was Ms. Roberts. Violet, the kids want to know if you'll join them for movie night. They're voting on what to watch. In the common room, children sprawled across couches and floor cushions. They made space for me in the middle, immediately pulling me into their debate between animation and superheroes. Both have happy endings, Sophie declared. Like us. Later that night, after tucking in the younger ones and checking on the teens, I found Michaela in the library. Can't sleep? I asked. Just thinking, she said, about what your cousin said, about real family. Hey, I sat beside her. Don't let her... No, it's not that. Michaela smiled. I was thinking she's wrong. Family isn't just who you're born to, it's who makes you feel like you belong. My phone buzzed. Another text from Laurel. Hope your experiment in playing Mommy makes you happy. Sarah's party next week. Don't forget to bring a nice gift. I looked at Michaela, then at the text. Want to help me plan something special for next week? I think it's time to show my family what we've built here. A revenge party? She grinned. No, I laughed. More like a revelation party. Sometimes the best way to change minds is to open hearts first. Outside, the sunset painted the sanctuary in warm colours. Children's laughter echoed through the halls. And for the first time in my life, I felt completely, utterly at home. This wasn't the family I was born into. It was the family I chose to create. And somehow, that made it even more real. Is my tie straight? Asked Tommy, one of our newest residents, fidgeting with his collar in the mirror. The grand ballroom of the city's finest hotel buzzed with activity as we prepared for Hope Haven's 10th anniversary gala. Perfect, I assured him, smoothing his shoulders. Ready to give your speech? What if I mess up? His 13-year-old face creased with worry. Then you'll have a funny story to tell, Michaela said, now 26 and serving as our program director. Like the time Ms. Violet tripped during our first fundraiser. That was your fault, I laughed. You left your backpack in the aisle. The ballroom doors opened and guests began flowing in. Local business leaders, donors, supporters. And yes, family. I spotted Hugo first, his hair now streaked with grey. Valerie came next, giving me a subtle thumbs up. Then Laurel, looking somewhat diminished compared to her usual commanding presence. Violet, Edmund approached, champagne in hand. The place is packed. The Thompson Foundation just pledged another $1 million for the expansion. Before I could respond, Tommy tugged my sleeve. Ms. Violet, they're ready for the speeches. I took the stage looking out at the sea of faces. 10 years, over 200 children helped, 40 successful college placements, countless lives changed. When Hope Haven began, I started, someone told me I was trying to fill a void in my life. They were right, but not in the way they thought. The void wasn't in me. It was in our community, in our understanding of what family truly means. I saw Laurel shift uncomfortably in her seat. Tonight, you'll hear from some of our residents, past and present. They'll tell you their stories better than I ever could. But first, a commotion at the back of the room interrupted me. Laurel had stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. Her face was streaked with tears as she rushed toward the exit. Continue with the program, I whispered to Michaela, then followed Laurel. I found her in the hotel's garden, mascara running, clutching her phone. Laurel! Don't, she said. Just don't be nice to me right now. I don't deserve it. What's wrong? She laughed bitterly, holding up her phone. Everything. My perfect children? They've emptied their trust funds, gambling, bad investments, parties. It's all gone. And now they're asking for more. I'm sorry, I said, meaning it. You know what's worse? She wiped her eyes. Watching those kids in there, the ones you've helped, they're more responsible, more grateful, more everything than my own children. And it's my fault. I was so busy proving I was the perfect mother that I forgot to actually be one. A cool breeze rustled the garden flowers. From inside, I could hear Tommy beginning his speech. I need your help, Vi, Laurel whispered. Not money. I need to understand how you did it, how you created real family bonds with children who aren't even yours. They are mine, I corrected gently, not by blood, but by choice. Every day we choose each other. Will you teach me? Her voice cracked. Help me fix my family? I studied her face, searching for any trace of the old condescension. Instead, I saw only desperation and genuine remorse. Come to the sanctuary next week, I said finally. See how we operate. But Laurel? It won't be easy. Real change never is. I know. She straightened her shoulders. I've spent 10 years judging your choices. Maybe it's time I learned from them instead. Inside, applause erupted. Through the windows, I could see Tommy beaming as Michaela hugged him. We should go back in, I said. They're about to show the video of our first year. Vi, Laurel caught my arm. I know it's too late, but I'm sorry. For everything I said, everything I did. It's never too late for family, I replied. Even the complicated ones. As we returned to the ballroom, Hugo approached, looking uncomfortable. That was quite a speech, Vi. And these kids, he gestured around, they're impressive. They are, I agreed. Would you like to meet some of them? The rest of the evening passed in a blur of testimonials, tears, and triumph. Former residents shared stories of college graduations, career successes, and their own growing families. Current residents performed music they'd learned in our programs. Later, as the crowd thinned, I found myself back on stage, looking at the Hope Haven 10 Years of Family banner. Michaela joined me, bumping my shoulder with hers. Think they finally get it? She asked, nodding toward Laurel and Hugo. Maybe, I said, but that's not why we did this. No, she smiled. We did it because family isn't about who you're born to, it's about who you choose to become. And standing there watching my chosen family mingle with my birth family, I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's proving that love can take any form if you're brave enough to let it. You want me to do what? Laurel stood in Hope Haven's kitchen, staring at the volunteer schedule I'd handed her. 3 days a week, 4 hours each day, I said, pouring coffee. That's the minimum commitment we require from all our regular volunteers. But I've never... She gestured vaguely at the industrial-sized kitchen. I have a housekeeper for this sort of thing. Cooking classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays, I continued, ignoring her discomfort. Homework help on Mondays and Wednesdays. Weekend activities include... Violet, she interrupted. I asked for help with my family situation, not a job. This is help. I met her eyes. You want to understand family bonds? Start by creating them. The kitchen door swung open as Sophie, now 17, burst in with a group of younger kids. Ms. Violet! We need more pancake mix for breakfast club tomorrow and... Oh! She stopped short at the sight of Laurel. Sophie, you remember my cousin Laurel? I said. She's going to be volunteering with us. Really? Sophie raised an eyebrow, looking exactly like the skeptical 7-year-old I'd first met. Does she know how to make pancakes? Laurel smoothed her designer blouse. I can learn. Perfect, Sophie grinned. You can start by helping us inventory the pantry, unless that's too much manual labor for those nails. I bit back a smile as Laurel examined her fresh manicure. I suppose I could... help. Great! Sophie tossed her an apron. Kids, show Ms. Laurel where everything goes. The younger children swarmed Laurel, pulling her toward the pantry. The look of sheer panic on her face was almost worth 10 years of snide comments. Play nice, I whispered to Sophie as she passed. Always do, She winked, but a little calmer never hurt anyone. Later that afternoon, I found Laurel in my office looking exhausted. Her perfectly styled hair had come loose and there was a smudge of flour on her cheek. "Ready to quit?" I asked. "No," she said, surprising me. "But I need to understand something. Those kids in there, they've been through hell. Abandonment, abuse, neglect, yet they're so loving," I supplied. "Resilient, happy," she finished. "My children have had every advantage, every privilege, and they're miserable. How is that possible?" "Maybe because these kids don't take family for granted," I said. "They build it, day by day, choice by choice." "Sarah called while I was in the pantry," Laurel said quietly. "Asked for more money. When I said no, she said I was never there anyway. So why start pretending to care now?" "Were you?" "Was I what?" "There," I said. "Really there, not just physically present?" Laurel's silence was answer enough. A knock at the door saved her from responding. Michaela entered with a stack of papers. "Sorry to interrupt, but we need a volunteer for tonight's college prep session. 3 of our seniors are working on applications." "I could," Laurel started hesitantly. I did help Sarah with hers. Before she dropped out." "Perfect." Michaela handed her a folder. "They'll be in the library at 7. Just maybe leave the designer labels commentary at home this time." After Michaela left, Laurel studied the folder. "She doesn't like me much, does she?" "She remembers you from your first visit," I said. "But she also believes in second chances. We all do." "Even you?" "Especially me." I stood up. "But Laurel, this only works if you're serious. These kids have been let down enough." "I know." She straightened her shoulders. "I want to do this right, not just for my kids, but for me too. I've spent so long judging others' choices that I never questioned my own." 7 o'clock, I reminded her. "Don't be late." That evening, I watched from the library doorway as Laurel sat with 3 teenagers, helping them craft college essays. Her voice was different, softer, more patient than I'd ever heard it. "Ms. Violet?" Tommy tugged at my sleeve. "Is she really your cousin? She seems nicer than before." "People can surprise you," I said. "Sometimes they just need a chance to be better than their worst moments." "Like us?" he asked. "Exactly like us." Inside the library, Laurel laughed at something one of the teens said. A real laugh, not her usual polished social titter. For a moment, I glimpsed the girl she'd been before society's expectations had hardened her. My phone buzzed with a text from Hugo. "Heard Laurel's playing charity worker now. This should be interesting." I typed back, "Not charity, family." Because sometimes the hardest person to give a second chance to is yourself. And watching Laurel take her first steps toward change, I realized that maybe this was the real purpose of Hope Haven all along. Not just to build new families, but to heal the broken ones too. "Ms. Laurel, you're doing it wrong again," 8-year-old Amy giggled, watching Laurel struggle with the craft supplies. 3 weeks into her volunteer commitment, my cousin sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by glitter and construction paper. "Well, how about you show me?" Laurel said, handing over the scissors. Her designer clothes had been replaced by jeans and a Hope Haven t-shirt. Her manicure sacrificed to art projects and cooking classes. "Like this," Amy demonstrated, carefully cutting along the line. "We're making cards for the new kids coming tomorrow. They're always scared at first, so we want them to feel welcome." "Were you scared?" Laurel asked softly. "Terrified," Amy admitted. "But then Ms. Violet read me a story and Sophie showed me where to find the best snacks, and Michaela helped me decorate my room. Now it feels like home." I watched Laurel absorb this, seeing the moment it clicked. She reached for another piece of paper, this time cutting with more purpose. "Can I tell you a secret?" she asked Amy. "I was scared coming here too." "Really? Why?" "Because," Laurel glanced up, catching my eye in the doorway, "because I wasn't very nice to Miss Violet before. I was afraid everyone here would hate me." "That's silly," Amy declared. "Miss Violet says everybody deserves a chance to be better." Before Laurel could respond, Michaela burst into the room. "Emergency family meeting! Living room now!" We gathered in the main living room, where a tearful Sophie stood clutching her phone. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I got in," Sophie whispered. "Full scholarship to medical school. I actually got in." The room erupted in cheers. Kids rushed to hug her, staff members wiped away tears, and Laurel stood back, watching it all with an expression I couldn't quite read. Later, during the impromptu celebration dinner, she pulled me aside. "I keep thinking about Sarah," she said. "She had every opportunity, every advantage. But Sophie, she had nothing. And look at her now." "She had everything that mattered," I corrected. "Support. Love. People who believed in her." "I failed my children, didn't I?" Laurel's voice cracked. "No," Michaela interrupted, joining us. "You just lost your way. But you're here now, trying to find it again. That counts for something." "Does it?" Laurel asked. "After everything I said about this place, about Violet? You know what we learn here?" Michaela gestured around the room. "That family isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." A commotion by the door drew our attention. Hugo stood there looking uncomfortable in his business suit. "I heard about Sarah," he said to Laurel. "Thought I'd find you here." "Hugo?" Laurel started. "Save it," he cut her off. "Have you lost your mind? Spending your days playing with orphans while your own daughter—" "They're not orphans," Amy piped up, stepping forward. "They're my family. And Ms. Laurel is helping us, which is more than you're doing." Hugo blinked, clearly not used to being challenged by 8-year-olds. "She's right," Laurel said quietly. "I'm learning more about being a mother here than I ever did at country club lunches or society parties." "By making craft projects?" Hugo scoffed. "By listening," Laurel shot back. "By showing up. By understanding that love isn't about what you give, it's about how you give it." Sophie stepped forward, medical school acceptance letter in hand. "Mr. Hugo, remember when you told Ms. Violet that her dream wasn't viable, that she was wasting her potential?" Hugo shifted uncomfortably. "That was business, not—" "I'm going to be a doctor," Sophie interrupted. "Because of this place. Because Ms. Violet saw potential in me when everyone else saw a throwaway kid. So maybe you should think about what viable really means." The room fell silent. Hugo looked around, taking in the handmade decorations, the family photos on the walls, the children's artwork proudly displayed. "I should go," he muttered. "Stay," I surprised myself by saying. "Have dinner with us. See what we do here." "Please," Amy added, offering him a glitter-covered welcome card. Hugo stared at the card, then at Laurel in her casual clothes and genuine smile, then at me. "One dinner," he said finally, "but I'm not making cards." "That's okay," Amy grinned. "Ms. Laurel's really bad at it too." As laughter filled the room, I watched my cousins, one finding her way back to herself, one taking his first tentative steps toward understanding. This wasn't the revenge I'd originally planned, but somehow it felt like an even better victory. Because sometimes the greatest transformation isn't in proving others wrong, but in helping them find their way to right. "Mom?" Sarah's voice wavered as she stood in Hope Haven's doorway. "Aunt Violet said I might find you here." Laurel froze in the middle of helping Tommy with his math homework. "Sarah, what are you—" "Can we talk?" Sarah clutched her purse, looking smaller than her 26 years. "Please?" I nodded to Laurel from across the room, and she followed Sarah into my office. Through the window, I watched them sit, neither speaking at first. "Quite a day for family reunions," Michaela said, joining me. "Hugo's in the garden with Amy, learning about her butterfly project. Never thought I'd see that." "People surprise you," I smiled. "Speaking of surprises, how's the expansion planning going?" Before she could answer, Sophie burst in. "Ms. Violet, the Thompson Foundation called. They want to fund satellite locations. We could help 3 times as many kids." The office door opened. Sarah emerged, eyes red but smiling, Laurel's arm around her shoulders. "Vi?" Laurel called. "Could you come here? Sarah has something to say." In my office, Sarah twisted her hands together. I've been watching Mom these past few months. How she changed working here. And I thought maybe I could volunteer too. It's not that simple, I said. This isn't just somewhere to find yourself. These kids need consistency, commitment. I know, Sarah interrupted. I've been sober for 2 months, going to meetings, getting counselling. I want to do better, be better, like Mom is learning to be. She means it, Vi, Laurel added softly. We both do. A commotion outside drew us to the window. Hugo was chasing Amy through the butterfly garden, both laughing as she sprayed him with the watering can. Who is that man and what has he done with our cousin? Laurel whispered. The same thing that happened to you, I replied. He let love in. Sarah watched the scene, tears in her eyes. I always thought we were better than everyone else. Our family, our money. But these kids have something we never had. What's that? I asked. Real connections, not just obligations. A knock at the door revealed Edmund, grinning broadly. Sorry to interrupt, but you all need to come to the living room. Now. We followed him to find the room packed with faces both old and new. Residents past and present, staff, volunteers, and in the centre, grandmother, sitting regally in her wheelchair. Well, she demanded, isn't anyone going to explain why this place feels more like home than my own house? Grandmother, I started, but she held up a hand. Let me finish. I've been watching, Violet. Watching how you built something extraordinary from nothing but love and determination. Watching how you changed Laurel, Hugo. This whole family. She gestured to Sarah. Come here, child. You too, Laurel. Hugo, stop dripping water on my floor and join us. As my cousins gathered around her chair, grandmother reached for my hand. I was wrong, she said simply. We were all wrong. Family isn't about carrying on bloodlines or meeting society's expectations. It's about creating spaces where people can grow, heal, and become their best selves. Group hug, Amy shouted, breaking the tension. She launched herself at Hugo, who caught her with practiced ease. Soon the room was a tangle of embraces, laughter, and tears. Sophie showing Sarah her medical school acceptance letter. Michaela discussing expansion plans with Edmund, Tommy explaining his math problems to a fascinated Hugo. Violet, grandmother called over the happy chaos. Edmund tells me you're planning satellite locations? Yes, Good. The Family Foundation will match whatever the Thompson Foundation offers. It's time the Parker legacy stood for something more than social status. As the celebration continued, I found myself by the window watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colours. Alison appeared beside me, smiling. Remember when you just wanted revenge? She asked. This is better, I said. This is healing. Ms. Violet, Amy called. We need you for the photo. Grandmother says we have to replace that awful reunion picture with a real family portrait. As I joined the group, I saw what grandmother meant. This was family. Not posed and proper, but real and messy and beautiful. Hugo with butterfly stickers on his suit. Laurel and Sarah holding hands. Michaela and Sophie supporting each other like the sisters they'd become. Amy perched on Edmund's shoulders. And me, in the middle of it all. Exactly where I was meant to be. Everyone ready? The photographer asked. Wait! Amy adjusted her Hope Haven t-shirt. What should we say instead of cheese? How about family? Sarah suggested. Better yet, grandmother said, her eyes twinkling. Let's say home. The camera flashed, capturing not just faces but the truth we'd all finally learned, that sometimes the family you choose becomes the family you needed all along. And that's not revenge, that's redemption.
The email from Knox arrived on a Tuesday morning, right as I was closing a deal worth millions. My hands trembled as I read it, coffee growing cold beside my laptop. After 5 years of peace, his words sliced through my carefully constructed world like a rusted blade. My name is Kendall, and I built my company from nothing but determination and spite. The spite part? That came from Knox, my ex-husband, who spent 6 years telling me I'd never amount to anything without him. Ms. Evans? My assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. The Tokyo investors are waiting in the conference room. Give me 5 minutes, I replied, my voice steadier than my hands. The email glared back at me. Our divorce was never properly finalized. I'm entitled to half of everything you've built. My lawyer will be in touch. I reached for my phone, clicking Riley's number without thinking. My sister answered on the first ring. Hey sis, what's up? He's back. The words caught in my throat. Knox? Riley's voice sharpened. What did that bastard do now? Claims the divorce isn't valid. Wants half my company. I laughed, but it sounded hollow even to me. 6 years of emotional abuse wasn't enough, I guess. Don't you dare let him get to you, Riley said. Remember where you were when you left him? And look at you now. I glanced around my corner office, 40 stories above Manhattan. The view still took my breath away sometimes. I know, but no buts. You're Kendall fucking Evans. You built Horizon Tech from your garage while that asshole was telling you to get a real job. Don't let him shake you. A knock at my door interrupted us. Morgan, my mentor and board member, stepped in. One look at my face, and she knew something was wrong. I've got to go, I told Riley. The Tokyo meeting. Call me after. And Kendall, you've got this. Morgan approached my desk, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. What happened? I turned my laptop around, showing her Knox's email. Her eyes narrowed as she read. That manipulative son of a bitch, she muttered. Have you called Lexi? Not yet, just got it. Call her, now. Morgan's tone left no room for argument. I'll handle the Tokyo meeting. Morgan, I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm telling. She squeezed my shoulder. Handle this. We both know Knox won't stop here. I nodded, already dialing Lexi's number. My lawyer answered immediately. Knox is trying to claim the divorce isn't valid, I said without preamble. What? Lexi's voice sharpened. That's impossible. I handled everything myself. He says he's got proof. Bullshit. Papers rustled in the background. I've still got all the documentation. Everything was filed correctly. He's fishing. But why now? I pressed my fingers to my temples. Why, after 5 years? Because you just made Forbes' 30 under 40 list, Lexi said flatly. Your company's valued at what, $200 million now? He's opportunistic, Kendall. Always has been. My phone buzzed with another email. This time from Graham, Knox's best friend. Just got another message. It's from Graham. Open it, Lexi ordered. The message was short. Knox asked me to testify about your mental state during the divorce proceedings. I wanted you to know. I haven't given him an answer yet. That bastard, I whispered. He's trying to claim I wasn't competent when I filed. He won't win, Lexi assured me. But Kendall, this is going to get ugly. I thought about the USB drive hidden in my safe at home. The one containing emails between Knox and his mistress from our last year of marriage. The photos. The bank statements showing money he'd siphoned from our joint account to fund their rendezvous. Maybe it's time for ugly, I said quietly. I've got something that could destroy him. Kendall. No, listen. I've spent 5 years taking the high road, building something meaningful. And now he wants to tear it all down? My voice hardened. I'm done being the bigger person. Come to my office, Lexi said after a pause. Bring everything you've got. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. As I gathered my things, my phone lit up with a text from Riley. Remember who you are now. Don't let him make you feel small again. I caught my reflection in the window. Designer suit, confident posture, nothing like the woman who'd fled her marriage with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. Knox wanted a war? Fine. But this time, I wasn't the same woman he'd broken all those years ago. This time, I was ready for him. Riley showed up at my apartment that evening with a bottle of wine and determination in her eyes. She found me sitting cross-legged on my living room floor, surrounded by old papers and photographs. I can't believe you kept all this, she said, settling beside me and examining a photo of Knox with his mistress outside a hotel. I learned from my mistakes. I took the wine glass she offered. The first time he cheated, I had no proof. Just my suspicions, which he convinced me were paranoid delusions. God, I wanted to kill him back then. Riley picked up another photo. Who took these? Private investigator. Hired him right after I found the lipstick on Knox's collar. The classic tell, right? I laughed bitterly. Cost me every penny I'd secretly saved, but worth it. My phone buzzed. Morgan. How are you holding up? She asked when I answered. Going through the evidence file. I put her on speaker. Riley's here. Good. Listen, I've been making calls. Knox has been reaching out to investors, trying to create doubt about your stability. My stomach clenched. What exactly is he saying? That you were unstable during the divorce. That you made irrational decisions. He's suggesting you might not be fit to lead the company. Riley's hand found mine and squeezed. That's rich. Coming from the man who told her she was crazy for wanting to start a tech company. Exactly, Morgan said. But here's the thing. He's getting pushback. Your track record speaks for itself, Kendall. 5 years of consistent growth, innovative products, stellar leadership. But, I prompted, hearing the hesitation in her voice. But some people love drama, and Knox is charming when he wants to be. Tell me about it, I muttered, picking up another photograph. This one showed Knox kissing his mistress, now his wife Paisley, in a restaurant. That's how he got me. My doorbell rang. Riley went to answer it while I continued talking to Morgan. We need to be strategic, Morgan advised. Knox is playing dirty, but you have to appear above it all. Lexi's here, Riley called out. My lawyer walked in, briefcase in hand, looking as polished as ever, despite the late hour. I've reviewed everything, she said without preamble. The divorce is solid. He's bluffing. But? I echoed my earlier question. But he's filed a civil suit claiming emotional distress and financial manipulation during the divorce proceedings. Lexi sat down, adding to our little circle on the floor. He's asking for $100 million in damages. That's insane, Riley exploded. It's a negotiating tactic, Lexi explained. Start high, settle for less. Classic Knox. Morgan's voice came through the speaker. What's our play? I reached for the USB drive I'd retrieved from my safe. I have proof of his affair with Paisley during our marriage. Bank statements showing he funded their trips with our joint account money. Emails where they planned their meetups. Does Paisley know about these? Riley asked. No, I never used them. I twisted my wineglass stem. I just wanted out back then. Didn't want to fight. And now? Lexi raised an eyebrow. Now he's threatening everything I've built. My company, my reputation, my future. I stood up, pacing. He's counting on me being the same scared woman who left him. The one who avoided conflict at all costs. Kendall, Morgan's voice was cautionary. Be careful. Revenge can backfire. This isn't about revenge. I stopped pacing. This is about protection. He won't stop until he either gets what he wants or faces consequences he can't charm his way out of. Lexi nodded slowly. I can file a countersuit. These documents prove financial infidelity during your marriage, plus the emotional abuse allegations. No. I shook my head. Legal battles drag on forever. Knox is counting on that. He wants to wear me down. Then what? Riley asked. I picked up the photo of Knox and Paisley at the restaurant. We hit him where it hurts. His perfect new life with his trophy wife. His reputation as a successful businessman. The image he's carefully crafted since our divorce. You want to expose the affair? Lexi frowned. That was years ago. Sometimes old wounds need to be reopened to heal properly. I sat back down. Besides, Paisley deserves to know what kind of man she married. The same way I wished someone had warned me. Morgan sighed through the speaker. If we do this, we need to be smart. Calculated. One wrong move, and it could backfire spectacularly. I know. I spread the photos out in front of me. But I'm done being afraid of Knox. He wants to play games? Fine. But this time, I'm not playing by his rules. Riley raised her wineglass. To karma. To consequences, I corrected, clinking my glass against hers. The game was on, and this time, I had all the right pieces. The next morning, I arrived at Lexi's office to find Graham already waiting there. He looked uncomfortable in his expensive suit, fidgeting with his tie as I walked in. "Thank you for coming," I said, taking the seat across from him. "Knox doesn't know I'm here." Graham leaned forward, lowering his voice despite us being alone. "He's not the same person anymore, Kendall. The success of your company, it's eating at him." "Is that why he asked you to testify about my mental state?" Graham winced. "He's been drinking, a lot. Talking about how you stole his ideas, how the company should have been his." "His ideas?" I couldn't help but laugh. He told me I was delusional when I pitched the initial concept, said tech wasn't a woman's field. The door opened, and Lexi walked in, carrying 2 thick folders. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was hell." She sat behind her desk, eyeing Graham. "So you're willing to go on record?" "I am." Graham pulled out his phone, scrolling through messages. "Knox has been erratic. Last week, he showed up at my house at 3 a.m., drunk, ranting about how he was going to take it all back." My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. "Morgan just called. Knox is at Horizon Tech, demanding to see you." "Excuse me." I stood up, stepping into the hallway to call Morgan. "He's making a scene," Morgan said immediately. "Security's handling it, but he's threatening to go to the press with evidence of your fraud." "What fraud?" "Exactly. He's grasping at straws, but some reporters are already sniffing around." I walked back into Lexi's office. "Knox is at my company right now, threatening to go to the press." Graham's face paled. "He mentioned something about that. He's been meeting with this reporter, feeding her stories about your past." "What exactly has he been saying?" Lexi demanded. "That Kendall was unstable during their marriage. That she stole company ideas from his computer. That she manipulated him into signing the divorce papers while he was grieving his father's death." Graham looked at me apologetically. "He's trying to paint you as this calculating manipulator." My phone rang again. This time, it was Knox. "Put it on speaker," Lexi mouthed. I answered. "What do you want?" "Your security guards just threw me out of my company." Knox's words were slightly slurred, even at this hour. "It's not your company, Knox. Never was. Everything you have is because of me. I supported you while you played entrepreneur in our garage. I paid the bills." "With money from our joint account," I interrupted. "The same account you used to fund your affair with Paisley." Silence on the other end. Then, "You can't prove that." Actually, I can. Every hotel receipt, every fancy dinner, every gift you bought her with our money. I have it all." "You're bluffing." But his voice wavered. "Want to bet your perfect new life on that? How do you think Paisley would feel about seeing those hotel receipts? The emails? The photos? You wouldn't dare." "Try me." I ended the call. Graham stood up, straightening his jacket. "He's not going to stop, you know. Not until he either wins or self-destructs. Then self-destruct he will." I turned to Lexi. "How do we proceed?" She opened one of the folders. "First, we file a restraining order based on today's incident. Then, we prepare a cease and desist regarding his fraudulent claims." My phone buzzed with an email. From Paisley. "Knox told me you're threatening him with lies about our past," it read. "I know what kind of woman you are, trying to destroy our happiness because you couldn't keep your marriage together." I handed the phone to Lexi. "Looks like Knox is getting ahead of the story." "Perfect," Lexi smiled. "He just gave us an opening." "What do you mean?" "He's made it personal by involving Paisley. Now we can respond directly to her. Share our evidence under the guise of setting the record straight." Graham stood up. "I should go. Knox will be looking for me soon." He paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I should have said something back then, when I knew what he was doing." After he left, Lexi turned to me. "Are you ready for this? Once we start, there's no going back." I thought about Knox's drunken threats, about Paisley's condescending email, about all the nights I'd cried myself to sleep believing I was crazy. "Send everything to Paisley," I said. "Every photo, every receipt, every email. Let her see who she really married." And Knox? Knox wanted a war. I picked up one of the photos from Lexi's desk. Knox, kissing Paisley outside their hotel. Let's give him one. The package arrived at Paisley's office at exactly 10 a.m. I knew because Riley's friend worked in the same building and texted updates. She just opened it, Riley read from her phone as we sat in my office. Her hands are shaking. I stared at my computer screen, trying to focus on work instead of imagining Paisley's face as she went through the evidence. The photos, the receipts, the emails where Knox promised to leave me for her. My phone rang. Knox. You vindictive bitch! He snarled before I could speak. What did you send her? Just the truth, Knox. Something you should have told her years ago. She's hysterical, threatening to leave me. His voice cracked. Is that what you wanted? You did this to yourself. I kept my voice steady. Remember when I was hysterical? When I found that lipstick on your collar and you told me I was imagining things. That was different. No, it wasn't. You're just finally facing consequences. The elevator dinged, and Paisley stormed into my office, mascara streaking down her face. I hung up on Knox. How dare you? She threw the envelope on my desk, photos spilling out. You had no right. Sit down, Paisley. I gestured to the chair. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. You're just trying to ruin my marriage because you couldn't keep yours together. Riley stood up. I'll give you two some privacy. Once the door closed, I picked up one of the scattered photos. This was taken 3 months before my divorce. Knox told me he was at a business conference in Chicago. Were you? Paisley's hands trembled. He said you were separated. We weren't. I pulled out the bank statements. See these hotel charges? That was our joint account. Money we'd saved for a house down payment. Stop it. But she was looking at the documents. Here's an email from Knox, dated 2 weeks before our anniversary. I slid it across the desk. My wife's going to her sister's this weekend. Meet me at our usual place. Paisley's face crumpled. He promised me I was different. That he'd never... My office phone buzzed. Ms. Evans, Mr. Powell is in the lobby, demanding to come up. Don't let him, I replied, then turned to Paisley. He's here. She wiped her eyes. Good. I have something to say to him. Security can stop him. No. She stood up, straightening her shoulders. I need to do this. We rode the elevator down together in silence. Knox was arguing with security when the doors opened. Paisley! He rushed forward, then stopped short seeing me. What did she tell you? Nothing I couldn't see for myself. Paisley's voice was ice. Those hotel receipts? Same places you take me now. Same restaurants. Same lies about business meetings. Baby, I can explain. Like you explained to her? Paisley gestured at me. Called her crazy? Paranoid? What words have you been saving for me, Knox? People were starting to stare. Knox grabbed Paisley's arm. Let's discuss this at home. She yanked away. Don't touch me. I talked to your secretary this morning, asked about your business trip last month. Funny how she didn't know anything about it. The color drained from Knox's face. That's right, Paisley continued. Same pattern, different woman. How many are there, Knox? This is all her fault. Knox pointed at me. She's manipulating you. Photos don't lie. Paisley's voice broke. And neither do credit card statements, or your secretary, or that pretty paralegal from your office who was very chatty once I started asking questions. My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. Graham just called. Knox took out a huge loan against his house last week. He's desperate. Knox turned to me, his face twisted with rage. You've ruined everything! No, Knox. You did that all on your own. I stepped between him and Paisley. Security, please escort Mr. Powell out. As security led him away, still shouting, Paisley turned to me. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Don't be. I didn't believe it at first either. What do I do now? She looked lost, young. First, you call a lawyer. Then you check your joint accounts before Knox does something stupid. I handed her Lexi's card. She's the best. Paisley nodded, clutching the card like a lifeline. Thank you for showing me the truth before you lost as much as I did. She managed a weak smile. Yeah. As I watched her leave, Riley appeared beside me. You okay? Better than okay? I turned back toward the elevators. But this isn't over. Knox just lost everything he cares about. Making him more dangerous than ever, Riley finished. Exactly. The elevator doors closed. And we need to be ready for whatever he does next. The annual Tech Innovation Gala was in full swing when Graham found me at the bar. Knox is here, he whispered urgently. And he's drunk. I scanned the crowded ballroom. Where? By the stage. He wasn't invited, but he charmed his way past security. Graham's hands fidgeted with his bow tie. He's been telling people he's going to expose the truth during the awards ceremony. Morgan appeared at my elbow, looking elegant in her evening gown. We've got a problem. I know. Knox is here. Worse. She showed me her phone. He's leaked emails to the press, doctored ones, making it look like you stole company ideas from him. My stomach dropped. How bad? Bad enough that 3 investors have already called me. The lights dimmed, signaling the start of the awards ceremony. I was scheduled to give a speech in 20 minutes, the keynote speaker celebrating women in tech. There you are! Riley rushed over, slightly out of breath. Paisley just called. Knox emptied their joint accounts this morning. Every penny. Of course he did. I took a deep breath. He's got nothing left to lose. The first speaker took the stage, her voice echoing through the ballroom. I spotted Knox near the front, swaying slightly, a glass of whiskey in his hand. What's the play? Riley asked. I pulled out my phone and forwarded an email to several addresses. Plan B. Ah, are you sure? Morgan's eyes widened. That's everything we have on him. Everything except the financial records Graham gave us yesterday. I turned to Knox's former best friend. Ready to go public? Graham nodded grimly. He deserves what's coming. The host announced my name, and applause filled the room. As I walked to the stage, I could feel Knox's glare burning into me. Thank you, I began, adjusting the microphone. Tonight, we're here to celebrate innovation, determination, and truth. Knox stood up, stumbling slightly. Speaking of truth, I continued, I'd like to address some rumors circulating about Horizon Tech's origins. You stole everything from me, Knox shouted, his words slurring. Security started moving toward him, but I held up my hand. Let him speak. In fact, I think everyone here should hear what Mr. Powell has to say. Knox pushed his way toward the stage. You manipulated me, stole my ideas. Which ideas would those be? I asked calmly. The ones you called ridiculous pipe dreams when I first pitched them? Or maybe the ones you claimed would never work because technology isn't for women? Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I have proof. Knox waved his phone. Emails. Doctored emails. Graham stood up from his table. Knox, stop. I helped you fake those, remember? Last week, when you were desperate for anything to use against her? The whispers grew louder. You're lying! Knox turned to the crowd. She's turning everyone against me. First Paisley, now you. Paisley left because you cheated on her, I interrupted. Just like you cheated on me. The only difference is she found out before you could gaslight her into believing she was crazy. You bitch! Knox lunged toward the stage. Security grabbed him as phones came out, recording everything. Mr. Powell is having a difficult time, I addressed the shocked audience. You see, he just lost access to his accounts after his wife discovered his multiple affairs. And the loan he took out against their house? I looked directly at Knox. The one you were planning to use to short Horizon Tech's stock? Graham told us all about it. Knox's face went from red to white. Graham? I'm done covering for you, Graham called out. The SEC has everything. The insider trading, the fake accounts, all of it. Security began dragging Knox toward the exit as he shouted, You'll regret this, all of you. I turned back to the microphone. Now, about innovation and determination. 5 years ago, I started Horizon Tech in my garage, with nothing but a dream and the courage to believe in myself, despite those who said I couldn't, despite those who tried to convince me I was worthless. The room erupted in applause. Later, as reporters swarmed asking for comments about Knox's meltdown, Riley hugged me tight. "You did it." "We did it," I corrected, watching as police officers entered the ballroom. "Is that?" Morgan nodded. "SEC agents. Turns out Graham had quite a story to tell them about Knox's financial dealings." My phone buzzed with a text from Paisley. "Thank you for everything. The police just arrested him trying to board a flight to Mexico." "It's over." Riley squeezed my hand, but watching the agents collect statements from witnesses, I knew it wasn't quite over. There would be trials, testimonies, more battles ahead. But this time, I wasn't fighting alone, and I wasn't fighting from a place of fear. This time, I was fighting from a place of truth. The morning after Knox's arrest, I sat across from two SEC investigators in Lexi's office, watching them review the evidence Graham had provided. "This is quite extensive," Agent Martinez said, flipping through bank statements. "How long has Mr. Powell been conducting these illegal trades?" "At least 3 years," Graham answered from his seat beside me. "It started small, insider tips to friends. Then he began creating fake accounts under different names. Using his wife's identity," Agent Torres added, holding up a document. "Both wives, actually." I leaned forward. "What?" "He opened accounts in your name during your marriage," Torres explained, "and recently did the same with Paisley's information." My phone buzzed. A call from the prison. Knox. I declined it for the 3rd time that morning. "He's been trying to reach me too," Graham said, noticing my gesture. "Left 15 voicemails last night." The office door opened, and Paisley walked in, looking exhausted but determined. "Sorry I'm late. Had to meet with my lawyer first." "Mrs. Powell." Martinez gestured to an empty chair. "Thank you for coming." "It's Ms. Rogers now. I filed for divorce this morning." She sat down, pulling out a folder. "I brought everything I could find from Knox's home office." Torres opened the folder, eyebrows rising. "These are forged documents, attempted transfers from Horizon Tech's accounts. He was planning to drain the company's emergency fund," Paisley explained. "Had all the paperwork ready. Just needed to get past their security protocols." My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Riley. "Turn on the news, now." I grabbed the remote from Lexi's desk, switching on the wall-mounted TV. Knox's face filled the screen, an old photo from happier days. "Breaking news. Tech executive Knox Powell accused of massive financial fraud. Sources say Powell attempted to flee the country after a public meltdown at last night's Tech Innovation Gala." "Great," Lexi muttered. "The media's running with it." My phone rang again, Morgan this time. "The board is calling an emergency meeting," she said when I answered. "Knox's accusations about stolen intellectual property. Some investors are nervous." "Put it on speaker," Lexi instructed. I did. "What exactly are they saying?" "They're concerned about potential lawsuits. Knox may be in custody, but his claims could still damage the company's reputation." Graham stood up. "I can help with that. I have proof Knox never contributed any ideas to Horizon Tech. In fact," he pulled out his phone, scrolling through old messages. "I have texts where he mocked the entire concept." The agents exchanged looks. "We'll need those messages," Martinez said. Another buzz from my phone. An email from Knox's criminal lawyer. "My client is willing to recant all claims against you in exchange for dropping the charges." "Don't even think about it," Lexi warned, reading over my shoulder. "I wasn't going to." Paisley leaned forward. "There's something else you should know. Last week, Knox met with a journalist, promised her proof that Kendall was mentally unstable during their marriage." My hands clenched. "Let me guess. More forged documents?" "Medical records," Paisley confirmed. "He had them doctored to show psychiatric hospitalizations that never happened." "That's a federal offense," Torres noted, writing something down. My phone buzzed yet again. A text from an unknown number. "You think you've won? I still have friends. Powerful ones. This isn't over." I showed it to the agents. "Add witness intimidation to the list," Martinez sighed. "He's desperate," Graham said. "When Knox feels cornered, he lashes out. Always has." Which makes him dangerous, Lexi added. The TV caught my attention again. Sources close to Powell suggest he may have been involved in other fraudulent activities across multiple businesses. The SEC investigation is ongoing. They have no idea, Graham muttered. But they will, I said, turning to the agents. I want to make a statement. Go public with everything. Kendall, Lexi cautioned. The media attention, will happen anyway. Better they hear the truth from me than Knox's lies from someone else. Paisley nodded. I'll back you up. Tell them how he operates, how he manipulates people. Me too, Graham added. It's time everyone knew who Knox really is. My phone buzzed one final time. Another prison call. But this time, I answered. Ready to negotiate? Knox asked, his voice smug even now. Actually, yes. I met Lexi's eyes, getting her nod of approval. I'm about to go public with everything. Every scheme, every lie, every manipulation. Unless what? The smugness wavered. Unless you sign a full confession, take responsibility for everything, leave me, my company, and Paisley out of your lies. And why would I do that? Because right now, you're looking at 20 years. Cross me again, and I'll make sure it's 40. Silence on the line. Then, you've changed. No, Knox. I just stopped being afraid of you. I hung up, turning to the agents. Shall we begin? The courthouse buzzed with tension as Knox was led in, wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of his usual designer suits. Our eyes met across the room, and for the first time, I saw something new in his expression. Defeat. All rise, the bailiff called out. Riley squeezed my hand as we stood. Paisley sat 2 rows behind us, Graham beside her. The past week of media coverage had taken its toll on all of us, but today would end it. Before we proceed with sentencing, the judge began, Mr. Powell has indicated he wishes to make a statement. Knox stood slowly, his handcuffs clinking. Your Honor, He paused, looking around the courtroom. I've had time to reflect in custody, to realize the damage I've caused. Here comes the performance, Riley whispered. Kendall, Knox turned toward me. I apologize for the years of emotional abuse, for making you doubt your sanity, for cheating on you and then trying to destroy everything you built. The judge interrupted. Mr. Powell, are you confirming the allegations of psychological abuse? Yes, Your Honor. Knox's voice cracked. I manipulated her, gaslit her, made her believe she was crazy. When she succeeded without me, I couldn't handle it. I tried to tear her down again. Paisley let out a soft sob behind me. And to my current wife, ex-wife, Knox corrected himself, I apologize for continuing the pattern, for the affairs, the lies, the financial fraud in your name. Mr. Powell, the judge leaned forward. You understand these admissions will be part of the record? I do. Knox straightened his shoulders. I also want to state, for the record, that Horizon Tech was entirely Kendall's creation. I never contributed any ideas or intellectual property. My claims were false, motivated by revenge and greed. The journalist who'd been writing hit pieces about me scribbled furiously in her notebook. Furthermore, Knox continued, I admit to forging medical records, attempting to manipulate the stock market, and planning to embezzle company funds. I acted alone, except where I coerced others through manipulation or threats. The judge nodded. Given your confession and cooperation with the SEC investigation, this court accepts the plea agreement. Mr. Powell, you are hereby sentenced to 12 years in federal prison, with no possibility of parole for 8 years. The gavel struck, and reality hit me. It was really over. Knox turned to face me one last time as officers approached to lead him away. Kendall? I stood, walking to the barrier separating us. Yes? That night in our garage, when you first told me your business idea. He swallowed hard. You were right. I was wrong. You were never crazy. I was just afraid you'd realize you didn't need me. I know, I said quietly, for what it's worth. He glanced at the officers waiting to take him away. Watching you succeed was like dying slowly. Each achievement was a reminder of what I'd lost, What I'd thrown away. That's called consequences, Knox. He nodded. I know that now. The officers took his arms. Take care of yourself, Kendall. You deserve it. As they led him away, Paisley approached me. Did you believe him? The apology? Does it matter? I suppose not. She wiped her eyes. The money he stole from me. I don't think I'll ever see it again. Actually, I turned to face her fully. I have a proposition for you. Horizon Tech is launching a new division. We need someone with your expertise in marketing. Her eyes widened. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a fresh start, like the one I had to make 5 years ago. Riley joined us, grinning. Plus, it'll drive Knox crazy, knowing you're working for Kendall. He'll have a lot of time to think about it, Graham added, approaching our group. 12 years. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Ms. Evans, how do you feel about the sentence? Ms. Rogers, will you be keeping Mr. Powell's name? Mr. Hoffman, are you worried about professional repercussions? I stepped up to the microphones. Today isn't about Knox Powell. It's about truth prevailing over manipulation, about standing up to abuse in all its forms, and most importantly, about moving forward. What's next for Horizon Tech? Someone shouted. I smiled, putting an arm around Paisley. Growth, innovation, and helping others rebuild their lives after surviving similar situations. Later that evening, as Riley, Paisley, Graham, Morgan, and I sat in my apartment sharing wine, my phone buzzed one last time. A text from Lexi. Knox signed all the paperwork. It's officially over. To new beginnings? Riley raised her glass. To karma, Paisley added. To truth, Graham offered. To healing, Morgan suggested. I looked around at these people who'd stood by me, who'd helped me fight back, who'd believed in me. To freedom, I said, raising my glass, and to never letting anyone make us doubt ourselves again. The city lights twinkled beyond my windows, and for the first time in years, I felt completely, utterly free. The morning sun streamed through my office windows as I reviewed the final draft of my memoir. Riley sat across from me, reading her own copy, while Paisley paced nervously behind us. Are you sure about this? Paisley asked. Publishing everything? The advance copies are already out, I replied, turning a page. No turning back now. My phone buzzed. A text from Graham. Knox saw the book announcement. He's requesting a meeting. Delete, Riley said, not looking up from her copy. You don't owe him anything. Actually, I set down the manuscript. I want to see him. Paisley stopped pacing. Why? Because this needs a proper ending, for all of us. The prison visiting room was cold and sterile. Knox sat across from me, thinner now, prison life etched into his face. The advance copy of my book lay between us on the metal table. Beautiful Lies, a story of survival and success. He read the title. Subtle. I thought about calling it How My Ex-Husband's Abuse Made Me a Millionaire, but my publisher thought that was too on the nose. A ghost of his old smile flickered. You always were better with words than me. He tapped the book. Your sister sent me excerpts. It's honest. That's the point. The part about our first date. He shifted uncomfortably. When I told you your dreams were too big for a small-town girl, I didn't realize how much that hurt you. You didn't realize a lot of things, Knox. No, I didn't. He opened the book to a marked page. But this part, about the night you left, you wrote that you felt both terrified and free, that it was like breathing for the first time. It was. I read that section 7 times. His hands trembled slightly, trying to understand how I became someone who could make another person feel that way. My phone vibrated. A message from Morgan. Today's stock prices just came in. We hit a new record high. Knox noticed my small smile. Good news? Horizon Tech just broke another record. I watched his reaction carefully. The company you said would fail within a year. I was wrong about everything. He closed the book. The reviews say this will be a bestseller. That's not why I wrote it. I know. He met my eyes. You wrote it for other women. Women like you and Paisley. So they'll recognize the signs faster than you did. Yes. How is she, Paisley? Thriving. She's heading our new marketing division. Turns out she's brilliant when she's not being told to doubt herself. Knox flinched. I deserve that. You deserve a lot of things, Knox. But this isn't about punishment anymore. It's about healing. Is that why you came today? To heal? I came to tell you I forgive you. His head snapped up. What? Not for you, for me, because holding on to that anger was exhausting. I don't deserve forgiveness. No, you don't, but I deserve peace. A guard approached, signaling our time was ending. Knox stood awkwardly. The book. Will you sign my copy? I took the book and pen he offered. On the title page, I wrote, "The truth sets us all free, even those who tried to bury it." Back at the office, Riley and Paisley were waiting with Morgan and Lexi. A bottle of champagne sat on my desk. How was it? Riley asked cautiously. Surprisingly peaceful. I picked up my copy of the book. Ready for tomorrow's launch? The pre-orders are incredible, Morgan reported. Your story is already inspiring people. The domestic violence hotline mentioned in the acknowledgments has received hundreds of calls since the advance reviews came out. Good, I said softly. That's exactly what I hoped for. Paisley raised her glass. To turning pain into purpose. To breaking silence, Lexi added. To building something beautiful from something broken, Riley offered. I looked around my office, at the women who'd become my strength, at the empire I'd built from ruins, at the book that would help others find their way out of darkness. To truth, I said, raising my glass, the most powerful weapon we have. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from an unknown number. Your book saved my life. I'm leaving him tonight. Thank you for showing me it's possible. I smiled, looking out at the city skyline. Knox had tried to make me small, but in doing so, he'd forced me to discover just how big I could become. Sometimes the worst things in our lives lead us to our greatest purpose. And that's a truth worth telling.
The first sign something was seriously wrong came during my morning yoga live stream. One moment I was demonstrating warrior pose to my followers. The next I was face down on my purple mat, my vision swimming with black spots. The comment section exploded with concern, but I couldn't even lift my phone to respond. My name is Serenity, and that was 3 months ago. Now I'm lying in a hospital bed, watching my sister Juliet's latest Instagram story. A boomerang of champagne flutes clinking above an infinity pool in Tulum. The hashtags make my stomach turn. Chic self-care, doing it for the fam, you blessings. Your labs came back, Dr. Whitney says, pulling my attention away from the phone. Her face carries that careful neutrality doctors perfect over years of delivering bad news. The tests confirm systemic lupus. I blink, trying to process. That's autoimmune, right? Yes. Your immune system is essentially attacking your healthy tissues. She pulls up a chair, her voice gentle. The good news is we caught it relatively early. The bad news is treatment can be expensive. My mother Cynthia, who's been unusually quiet until now, suddenly springs to life. Oh, don't worry about money, honey. We'll figure something out. She squeezes my hand so hard it hurts. What matters is getting you better. Dr. Whitney glances between us. There are payment plans we can discuss. Actually, my mother interrupts, already typing on her phone. I have the perfect idea. Ellis, come in here. My father appears in the doorway, his silver hair perfectly styled despite the hospital setting. What's happening, sweetheart? We should start a fundraiser, Mom announces. One of those GoFundMe things. People love those. I try to protest. Mom, I don't want... Nonsense! You focus on healing. She's already creating the page. Oh, we should take a photo for it. Jules, get in here and help with the lighting. Juliet bounces in from the hallway where she's been filming hospital corridor content for her TikTok. Mom, we need something emotional. Seren, Can you, look more sick? I am sick, I mutter. But they're not listening. Perfect, Mom exclaims after the 10th photo. This one's heartbreaking. Ellis, what should we set as the goal? Make it big, he says, winking at me. Medical bills add up fast. Dr. Whitney clears her throat. Perhaps we should focus on the treatment plan. But my family's already in full production mode. Juliet's crafting the perfect caption. Mom's calling her church friends, and Dad's making lists of potential donors. 2 weeks later, I'm still in the hospital when Mia visits. My best friend since 3rd grade takes one look at me and frowns. Have you seen the fundraiser total? No, they won't let me access it. Say they don't want me stressing about money. Mia's frown deepens. It's at $157,000. I nearly choke on my water. What? But I haven't seen any of that. The hospital's still sending me bills. That's weird. Mia pulls out her phone. Your sister's been posting about all these donor thank you events they're throwing. She shows me Juliet's Instagram. There she is, raising a glass at some rooftop bar. The caption reads, "Grateful for everyone supporting our family through this journey. Blessed Seer family, first Seer pray forcerin." Journey? I whisper. She hasn't visited me in 5 days. Mia scrolls further. There's a lot of posts like this. Your mom too. My hands shake as I take the phone. Designer clothes, spa days, weekend trips, all with captions about taking care of themselves to be strong for me. A notification pops up. Juliet's posted a new story. My heart stops as I read the location tag. Dreams Tulum Resort and Spa. I thought they said they were too busy caring for me to visit this week, I say quietly. Mia's face hardens. Something's not right here, Seren. No, I agree. Watching another boomerang of my sister toasting the sunset with what looks like a $200 bottle of champagne. It's not. I glance at my latest hospital bill, still unpaid on the bedside table. Then at my mother's recent post about a charity dinner they're planning in my honor. Mia, I say slowly, I need you to help me figure out what's really happening with that fundraiser. She squeezes my hand. Already on it. I took screenshots of everything. I look back at my phone just as Juliet posts again. Sometimes you have to put yourself first to help others. Self-care, sawars. Our blessed family matters. My jaw clenches. They think I'm too sick to notice, too weak to fight back. They're wrong. Coming home from the hospital feels like entering a stranger's house. Everything's the same. The family photos on the walls, the vanilla-scented candles Mom loves, even Dad's collection of golf trophies. But now there's a hollow feeling behind it all, like a stage set waiting for actors to bring it to life. We've set up your old room, Mom announces, guiding me inside. Though you might want to stay downstairs. Those stairs could be tricky with your condition. My condition. The one they're supposedly raising money to treat. Speaking of which, I say carefully, I got another bill from the hospital. They're asking about payment. Mom waves her hand dismissively. Oh, honey, don't worry about that. We're handling everything. But how? I haven't seen any of the... Serenity, Juliet bursts in, cutting me off. Look what I got you. She thrusts a shopping bag at me. Inside is a silk pajama set with the tag still on. $395. That's expensive, I say slowly. Was this from the fundraiser money? Juliet's smile falters for a split second. Don't be silly. This is just me being a good sister. Oh, I need to post about it. She pulls out her phone, arranging the pajamas artfully on my bed. I catch Mia's eye from where she's standing in the doorway. She gives me a subtle nod and slips away, our signal that she's going to check something. Later that night, I hear voices from Dad's study. I creep closer, phone recording in my pocket. The foundation paperwork needs to be filed this week, Dad's saying. The donors are asking questions. I told you we should have done this properly from the start, Mom replies. What if someone looks too closely? Nobody will. They're too busy feeling sorry for us. Did you see how many likes Juliet's hospital vigil post got? Speaking of posts, Mom says, we need more content. Serenity's looking too healthy in recent photos. I'll talk to Jules. She knows how to work the angles, make things look worse than they are. I back away, hands shaking. When I reach my room, I text Mia, need your help, now. She replies instantly, check your email, found something. The email contains screenshots from the fundraiser's financial records. Mia's cousin works at the bank. My eyes widen as I scroll through transaction after transaction. Spa treatments, restaurant bills, first-class flights to Tulum. A soft knock interrupts my research. It's Juliet. Hey, sis, she says, sitting on my bed. How are you feeling? Fine, I reply, watching her carefully. How was Tulum? She freezes for a millisecond before recovering. Oh, that. Just a quick wellness retreat. You know, to recharge so I can take better care of you. With the fundraiser money? God, you're so paranoid lately. She stands up, defensive. We're doing everything for you. Do you know how hard it is watching you suffer? We deserve some stress relief. I haven't seen a cent of that money, Jules. Because you're sick. You can't handle the stress of managing funds right now. Mom and Dad are taking care of everything. My phone buzzes. Another email from Mia. This one shows a promotional flyer. The Serenity Fund Charity Gala, a night of hope and healing. What's this gala about? I ask, showing her the screen. Juliet's face pales. How did you get that? That's not finalized yet. Why wasn't I told about it? Because, she grabs her phone, fingers flying. Mom, Dad, we have a problem. They appear within minutes, faces tight with concern. Sweetheart, Dad says, using his business negotiation voice. You need to rest. All this detective work isn't good for your recovery. My recovery that I can't afford because I haven't seen any donation money? Mom steps forward, arms crossed. We're protecting you. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly enough to know something's wrong. Dad's voice turns cold. Careful, Serenity. Stress can make people unstable. We wouldn't want to have you evaluated. The threat hangs in the air. I force myself to stay calm, remembering the recording device still running in my pocket. You're right, I say quietly. I need rest. They exchange relieved looks before filing out. As Juliet leaves last, her phone chimes. A message preview flashes across her screen, from Dad. Let's get at least one more gala before she kicks. I wait until their footsteps fade before pulling out my phone and texting Mia. Time for phase 2. They're not just stealing from me. They're betting on me dying. Her response is immediate. I'm calling Kyle. We're going to need a reporter for this. I look at the family photo on my nightstand. All smiling, all perfect. By the time I'm done, everyone will know what's behind those smiles. Meeting Kyle at the coffee shop feels like stepping into the past. He looks exactly the same as he did when we dated 3 years ago. Same messy dark hair, same reporter's notebook, same intense focus. I always knew your family was off, he says, sliding into the booth across from me. But this is next level. Mia spreads out the evidence we've gathered. Bank statements, social media posts, promotional materials for events I never knew about. Look at this, she says, pointing to a transaction record. $3,000 at Nordstrom, the same day they held a prayer vigil for Serenity's recovery. Kyle whistles low. And you're sure none of this money went to medical bills? I pull out my latest statement from the hospital. Still unpaid. They keep telling me they're handling it, but they're handling their 5-star hotel stays instead, Mia finishes. Kyle starts taking notes. The foundation. What's its legal status? That's where it gets interesting, I say, pulling up a government website. I had Kyle check the nonprofit registry. The Serenity Fund doesn't exist. They never filed for 501c3 status. Which means, Kyle adds, they're collecting charitable donations under false pretenses. That's fraud. A barista approaches with our drinks. We fall silent until she leaves. There's more, I say quietly. Dr. Whitney called me yesterday. Apparently my parents told her office I'm in palliative care. Mia spills her coffee. What? They're telling donors I'm terminal. That's why they're rushing to organize this gala. They think I won't be alive to expose them. Kyle's pen stops moving. Serenity, this isn't just fraud anymore. This is serious criminal activity. I know. I take a deep breath. That's why I need your help. Both of you. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's Juliet. Where are you? Mom's freaking out. You're supposed to be resting. Another text follows. Don't forget your meds. We're all so worried. Blessed. She's hashtagging in text messages now, Mia scoffs. Probably copying it for her next post, I mutter. Speaking of which, I pull up Juliet's latest Instagram story. There she is, sitting by my empty bed, head bowed in prayer. The caption reads, "Sometimes the hardest battles are fought in silence. Ihr pray for Saren, ihr faith family." She posted that 10 minutes ago, I say. While I'm clearly not there, Kyle's already typing on his laptop. I'm finding dozens of donations linked to these posts. People are sending money directly to your parents' personal accounts. How much? Mia asks. Total's over 200,000 now. My hands start shaking. Mia grabs them, steadying me. We need to be smart about this, Kyle says. If we're going to expose them, we need irrefutable proof, and timing is everything. The gala, I say suddenly. That's where we do it. They both look at me. Think about it. All the donors will be there. Local press. They're planning to make it their biggest event yet. They'll never let you attend, Mia points out. They won't have a choice. Not when I walk in looking very much alive and ready to tell my story. Kyle leans forward. I can have a camera crew ready, but Serenity, this will destroy your family. They destroyed themselves, I reply, watching another donation notification pop up on the fundraiser page. They just don't know it yet. My phone buzzes again. A group text from Dad to the family. Great news! Matthew Henderson just pledged $50,000 for the gala. Juliet, post something emotional. Cynthia, call his wife. She loves a good tragedy. I show them the message. See? They're getting sloppy. Overconfident. We need to move fast, Kyle says, before they can hide the money. Mia pulls out her own notebook. I've got the names of every major donor. Once this breaks, they'll want their money back. And I'll make sure they get it, I say, watching another of Juliet's fake vigil stories pop up. Every last cent. Kyle reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. Are you sure you're ready for this? It's going to get ugly. I think about the hospital bills piling up, about the Instagram posts monetizing my suffering, about that text, before she kicks. They're counting on me dying, I say, my voice steady. Instead, I'm going to bury them. As if on cue, my phone lights up with a notification. The gala's been announced publicly. 2 weeks from now, my family will stand on a stage and lie to a room full of people about their dying daughter. They just don't know their dying daughter plans to crash the party. I decide to confront them during Sunday dinner. It's always been sacred family time, the one meal where phones are supposedly banned. Though lately, Juliet's been sneaking photos of her homemade meals for her followers. Tonight's performance, stirring a pot of soup she ordered from the local bistro. We need to talk about the fundraiser, I say, as Mom serves the bread. The silence is immediate. Dad's fork stops halfway to his mouth. Sweetheart, Mom starts. We've been through this. $200,000, I interrupt. That's how much you've raised. In my name. For my treatment. Juliet suddenly becomes very interested in her soup. Where's the money? I ask. Being managed, Dad says firmly. For your ongoing care. Really? I pull out my phone. ignoring their no phones rule. So these aren't your credit card statements? Mom's face goes white. How did you? Spa treatments, designer clothes, first-class flights. That's not medical care. We deserve some compensation, Juliet bursts out. Do you know how hard this has been on us? The emotional toll? The emotional toll of watching me struggle to pay for medication while you post bikini pics from Tulum. You're not well, Dad says, his voice turning cold. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly enough to know you never registered the foundation. That's fraud, Dad. He stands up so fast his chair falls backward. That's enough. You ungrateful. Ungrateful? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. For what? The money you stole from me? The lies you're telling donors? We're protecting you, Mom shrieks. You're sick. You can't handle. Handle what? The truth? That you're betting on me dying before I can expose you? Juliet gasps. How dare you? I saw your father's text, Jules. Let's get one more gala before she kicks. Remember that one? The room goes deadly quiet. You're paranoid, Dad says finally. Delusional. The stress of your illness is making me unstable, I finish. Is that what you'll tell people? That I'm crazy? If necessary, he replies coldly. Who do you think they'll believe? The sick girl having a breakdown, or the devoted family who sacrificed everything to care for her? Sacrificed? I pull up Juliet's Instagram. Like this sacrifice? Private yacht rental, tagged Self-Care Sunday while my sister fights her battle. I'm building a brand, Juliet screams. A platform to help you. Help me. I stand up shaking. I can't afford my medication. The hospital's threatening collections. Sit down, Dad orders. Now. Or what? You'll have me committed. Tell everyone I'm mentally unstable? If that's what it takes to protect this family. This isn't a family, I say quietly. It's a scam. And I'm done being your cash cow. Mom starts crying. Those perfect camera-ready tears she's perfected for social media. After everything we've done for you. You mean everything you've done to me. I grab my bag. The gala's in 2 weeks. I suggest you cancel it. You're not going anywhere, Dad says, stepping toward me. We need to discuss your mental state. Touch me, I say calmly, holding up my phone, and I'll send every screenshot, every bank statement, every fraudulent document to the police right now. He freezes. Seren, please, Juliet begs. We can work this out. As a family. Family? I look at each of them. Mom with her fake tears, Dad with his barely contained rage, Juliet already angling herself for a dramatic photo opportunity. We stopped being a family the moment you started profiting from my death. Where are you going? Mom demands as I head for the door. Away from you. All of you. We'll cut you off, Dad shouts. From everything. I turn back one last time. You can't cut me off from money you never gave me in the first place. The door slams behind me. My phone immediately explodes with notifications. They're all posting about me, worried updates about my mental state, asks for prayers, concerns about my unstable behavior. I text Mia. It's done. They showed their true colors. Her response is immediate. Coming to get you. Kyle's ready when you are. I look back at the house. My childhood home, now just another prop in their performance. Through the window, I can see Juliet live streaming her tears, Mom calling everyone she knows, Dad already drafting damage control. They think they're protecting their story. They don't realize they're just adding evidence to mine. My phone buzzes one last time. A text from Dad. Don't make us do something you'll regret. I screenshot it, add it to my growing file, and block their numbers. The war has officially begun. Your parents are claiming you had a psychotic break, Kyle says, scrolling through his phone. We're in his office at the newspaper, surrounded by empty coffee cups and stacks of documents. They've got 3 different therapists willing to make statements. Of course they do. I'm reviewing donor lists with Mia. Dad probably paid them off too. Look at this, Mia says suddenly, pointing to a name. Matthew Henderson. He's the one who donated $50,000, right? Kyle nods. Local business owner, real estate developer. He's also on the hospital board, I say. I saw his name in the lobby. Perfect. Kyle grabs his keys. Let's pay him a visit. An hour later, we're sitting in Matthew Henderson's sleek downtown office. He looks exactly like his LinkedIn photo. Silver-haired, expensive suit, concerned expression. I was surprised to get your call, he says, studying me. Your parents said you were unavailable. You mean dying? I pull out my medical records. Here's my actual prognosis from Dr. Whitney. Note the date, 2 days ago. He reads carefully, his frown deepening. This doesn't match what they told donors. Nothing matches what they told donors. I start laying out documents. Bank statements, social media posts, fake foundation paperwork. Jesus Christ. He picks up a receipt for a spa day dated hours after a major donation. They used my money for this? Everyone's money, Mia adds. They never registered as a real charity. Matthew leans back, running a hand through his hair. The gala next week, they're expecting another 100,000 in pledges. I know. I meet his eyes. That's why I'm here. I need your help. To expose them? To make sure every donor knows the truth. In person. At the gala. He's quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you need? The next week passes in a blur of preparation. Kyle works his media contacts. Mia coordinates with other donors. Matthew handles the venue security. Your mother called again, Dr. Whitney tells me during my checkup. Says you're having delusions? What did you tell her? That patient confidentiality prevents me from discussing your mental state. She smiles. And that I'll see her at the gala. The day before the event, I'm trying on my outfit when Mia bursts into her apartment where I've been staying. Emergency, she says, showing me her phone. They're telling people you're in hospice care. What? Look at Juliet's latest post. There it is. A black and white photo of my empty bedroom, caption reading, As we prepare to celebrate my sister's legacy tomorrow night, our hearts are heavy knowing she's spending her final days in peace and comfort. Angel wings Taikurskar, God's plan. Final days? I grab my phone, calling Kyle. They're setting it up so no one expects me there. Good, he says. Makes your entrance more powerful. By the way, I've got confirmation. 3 local news stations will be covering the event. Perfect. I look at my reflection. Healthy, strong, alive. What time should we arrive? Your father's scheduled to speak at 8. I'd say 8:05. That evening, I get a text from Matthew. Your parents just did a walkthrough. Your mother cried on cue when she saw your photo on the memorial table. Memorial table. They're really going all in. Everything's ready, Mia says, helping me pack my evidence files. The projector's set up, Kyle's team is in position, and Matthew's got security briefed to keep your family from stopping you. My phone lights up with notifications. More posts from my family. Mom writing about saying goodbye with grace. Dad sharing a touching tribute to his angel daughter. Juliet posting throwback photos with captions about heaven gaining another warrior. They really think I'm going to die before I can stop them, I say quietly. Mia squeezes my hand. Then they're in for one hell of a shock. I look at my outfit for tomorrow, not the somber black they're all planning to wear, but a powerful red dress that screams, alive and fighting. One more thing, Kyle calls to say. Your parents just announced they're launching a permanent foundation in your memory. They're collecting pledges tomorrow night. I think about all the people they've deceived, all the money they've stolen, all the lies they've told. Let them collect those pledges, I say. It'll make the truth hit harder. After I hang up, I see one final post from Juliet. Tomorrow we celebrate a life that touched so many. a sister who fought bravely but can finally rest. Gone too soon, forever, in our hearts. I screenshot it and add it to my evidence file. In less than 24 hours, they'll learn exactly how alive I am, and I'm done resting. The hotel ballroom buzzes with activity as Kyle, Mia, and I watch from a service entrance. Through the crack in the door, I can see my family working the room. Mom in elegant black, dabbing her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Dad shaking hands and accepting condolences. Juliet posing for sympathetic selfies with donors. "Ready?" Kyle asks, adjusting his press badge. I check my phone, 7:58 p.m. Almost. Wait for it. Dad takes the stage, tapping the microphone. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this difficult night." The crowd falls silent. As many of you know, my daughter Serenity has fought bravely against her illness. Tonight we gather not just to raise funds for others like her, but to honor her legacy. "That's my cue," I whisper. The click of my heels echoes through the sudden silence as I walk down the center aisle. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Someone drops a glass. Juliet, posting a tearful Instagram story near the stage, lets out a shriek and actually faints. "Hi, Dad," I say into the second microphone. "Talking about my legacy seems a bit premature, don't you think?" His face goes from shocked white to angry red in seconds. "Serenity, you're supposed to be in hospice? Dying? Sorry to disappoint." I turn to the stunned audience. "Though I am curious why my family told you all I was on my deathbed." "She's confused," Mom jumps in, rushing the stage. "The medication is working great, actually. Dr. Whitney, would you mind confirming my current health status?" Dr. Whitney stands from her table. "Ms. Brown is responding well to treatment. She was in my office yesterday. Definitely not in hospice care." The murmuring in the crowd grows louder. "But the foundation," someone calls out. "Doesn't exist," I say clearly. "Never did. Would you like to see where your donations really went?" I nod to Mia, who starts the slideshow. Images flash across the screen. Bank statements, luxury purchases, vacation photos. Each one dated minutes or hours after major donations. "That's not," Dad starts. "Your spa day in Switzerland?" I point to a receipt. "Paid for with Mr. Henderson's donation for my emergency surgery." Matthew stands up. "Is this true?" "Of course not," Mom cries. "We would never—" "The Tulum trip," I continue. "Funded by the church bake sale. The designer wardrobe, that came from the elementary school fundraiser." Juliet, recovered from her faint, grabs her phone, probably to delete evidence. "You're just jealous." "Of what, Jules? Your Instagram following? The one you built by monetizing my supposed death?" Kyle signals his news crew to start rolling. "Every donation," I say to the crowd, "every dollar you generously gave for my medical care went straight into their personal accounts, while I got collection notices from the hospital." "That's enough." Dad tries to grab the microphone. Two security guards, arranged by Matthew, step forward. "No, Dad, it's not enough." I pull out my phone. "Should I play the recording where you discuss getting one more gala before she kicks? Or the one where you plan to have me committed if I exposed you?" The room erupts in chaos. Donors demand refunds. Reporters shout questions. Mom's mascara runs as she realizes her tears won't save her this time. "We did everything for you," Juliet screams. "No," I say quietly. "You did everything for yourselves. And you did it, thinking I'd be dead before I could stop you." Matthew takes the stage. "As a major donor and board member of this hotel, I'm shutting this event down. The police have been notified." "The police?" Mom whispers. "Fraud is a crime," Kyle calls out, his camera crew capturing everything. "So is falsifying charitable organizations." I watch my family's perfect facade crumble. Dad's trying to reach his lawyer. Mom's mascara-stained face will definitely make the news. Juliet's frantically deleting social media posts as donors photograph her. One last thing, I say into the microphone. To everyone who donated, I'm sorry they exploited your kindness. Mr. Henderson has set up a legitimate fund to refund every donation. The crowd surges forward, leaving my family isolated on stage. Serenity, please, Mom tries one last time. We're your family. I look at them. Really look at them. The people who bet against my survival, who profited from my pain, who celebrated my death while I fought to live. No, I say simply, you're just the people who taught me what family shouldn't be. As security escorts them out, I hear Juliet wail, but what about my followers? I turn to Kyle's camera, speaking directly to his live stream audience. My name is Serenity. I'm very much alive. And this is the story of how my family tried to kill me off for profit. The truth, like me, refuses to die quietly. The morning after the gala, my story is everywhere. Kyle's article runs on the front page. Family fakes daughter's terminal illness for profit. My phone won't stop ringing with interview requests. The video of my confrontation has gone viral. Good Morning America wants you, Mia says, scrolling through emails. So does Ellen. And there's about 50 podcast requests. I'm curled up on her couch, watching the local news coverage. They're showing security footage of my parents being escorted out of the hotel. Mom still crying those perfect tears. Dad threatening lawsuits. Juliet trying to shield her face from cameras. Your sister's Instagram is gone, Kyle notes, bringing us coffee. Deleted everything. Not everything. I open my cloud storage. I saved screenshots, including the post she made while supposedly at my bedside in hospice. My phone buzzes. A text from Matthew. Police want to meet. They're building a case. The detective interviews me that afternoon. She spreads photos across her desk. Evidence of wire transfers, fake foundation documents, forged medical updates. We've frozen their accounts, she tells me, but they'd already moved some money offshore. Your father was planning this for months. Of course he was. I hand her my phone. Here's every conversation I recorded, every text, every email. She raises an eyebrow at one message. Your mother actually wrote, make sure she doesn't find out about the Cayman transfer? They never thought I'd live to read it. Back at Mia's, we watch more news coverage. Local donors are coming forward with stories. The church wants its bake sale money back. The elementary school is horrified. My parents' country club has revoked their membership. Look at this, Kyle says, showing me his laptop. Someone's created a Twitter thread documenting every luxury purchase my family made with donation money. It's been shared 50,000 times. Your mom's realtor friend is talking, Mia adds. Says they put a deposit on a vacation home last week. With charity funds. My phone pings. An email from Dad's lawyer. Cease and desist all public statements. Any further damage to the family's reputation will result in legal action. I forward it to Kyle's legal team without comment. Hours later, Juliet tries a different approach. She sends a voice note. Seren, please. They're saying Daddy might go to jail. We didn't mean for this to happen. Can't we just talk? I play it for Mia and Kyle. Still performing, Mia observes. Notice how her voice breaks at all the right moments? Should I respond? I ask. No need, Kyle says, showing me his phone. Look who just made a deal with prosecutors. The headline reads, Daughter turns on parents in charity fraud case, agrees to testify for reduced charges. Of course she did. I laugh, but it's hollow. Always looking out for herself. More news breaks throughout the day. Dad's business partners are distancing themselves. Mom's social circle is imploding. Their neighbors have started a petition to make them move. Dr. Whitney sent this, Mia says, forwarding an email. The hospital's writing off your bills. Says it's the least they can do after everything. I'm about to respond when my laptop chimes. Someone's shared a Dropbox folder with me. Years of family photos, videos, private messages. The note reads, "Found these on your sister's cloud. Thought you should have them before she deletes everything." Anonymous. I click through them slowly. Birthday parties, family vacations, holiday dinners, all those perfect moments, now tainted by knowing what was beneath the surface. "You okay?" Kyle asks softly. "They really thought I was going to die," I say, staring at a Christmas photo from last year. "They counted on it, planned for it, profited from it. But you didn't die," Mia reminds me. "You fought back." My phone buzzes again. A news alert. They're showing footage of my parents leaving their lawyer's office, faces hidden behind sunglasses. The caption reads, "Family faces multiple felony charges in charity scam." "What happens now?" Kyle asks. I close the laptop, shutting away those false happy photos. Now, I start living, really living, without their lies, without their performance, without their version of family. Speaking of performance, Mia points to the TV. They're showing Juliet arriving at the prosecutor's office, perfectly styled for her new role as star witness. I watch my sister, the social media influencer, prepare to influence one last time. This time, a jury. "Delete the cloud photos," I tell Mia. "All of them. I don't need reminders of who they pretended to be." As if on cue, one final email arrives, from Mom. "We loved you. We just loved ourselves more." I don't respond. Instead, I block the address and turn back to Kyle's laptop. There's a story to write. My story. And this time, every word will be true. The verdict comes down on a sunny Tuesday morning. I sit in the courtroom, Mia on one side, Kyle on the other, as the judge delivers the sentences. Dad. 8 years for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Mom. 5 years for her role in the scheme. Juliet. 18 months, reduced for cooperation. The defendants showed a calculated disregard for both the law and basic human decency, the judge says. They exploited not just their daughter's illness, but the generosity of an entire community. I watch their faces as reality hits. Dad's mask of confidence finally cracks. Mom's tears, for once, are real. Juliet looks small without her phone and designer clothes. "Miss," the judge addresses me directly, "do you wish to make a statement?" I stand, feeling the weight of every camera, every eye in the courtroom. "No, Your Honor. They've taken enough of my voice. Now I'm using it for something better." Outside, reporters swarm us. Kyle handles the press while Mia guides me through the crowd. Someone shouts, "What about your book deal?" "That's right," Kyle confirms. Serenity's memoir, Dying to Profit, comes out next month. All proceeds go to autoimmune disease research. Back at my new apartment, paid for with recovered funds, I find a package waiting. Inside is my author's copy of the book. The dedication page reads, "For everyone who donated to help me live, this is the truth about how your kindness was betrayed. And for those still fighting battles with both illness and family, your voice matters. Use it." "Look at this," Mia says, showing me her tablet. The pre-orders are already breaking records. The publishers added 3 more cities to my tour. Dr. Whitney called, Kyle adds. "The hospital's naming their new patient advocacy program after you." My phone buzzes. A message from Matthew. "Board approved your proposal. The Henderson Brown Charitable Trust launches next week. Real oversight, real help for real patients." I'm responding when another text arrives, from an unknown number. It's a photo of me as a child, sitting on our old porch swing. The message reads, "Found this while packing up the house. Thought you should have it. I'm sorry. For everything. J." "Juliet?" Mia asks, reading over my shoulder. "Doesn't matter," I say, deleting the message. "That family died the night of the gala. I'm building a new one." Speaking of building, Kyle pulls out a small box. "I know we agreed to take things slow, but after everything, life's too short for slow." Inside is a key. Move in with me, he says. My place is closer to the hospital for your treatments, and I've got that home office you can use for writing. Mia squeals. Say yes. I'm tired of having to visit you separately. I look at them both. My best friend, who never wavered, the ex who came back stronger, the family I chose. Yes, I say. But I'm keeping this place too, for others who might need a fresh start. Later that evening, we're unpacking boxes when my publisher calls. The morning shows are fighting over you. Which one do you want? None of them, I decide. I want to do local interviews first. Visit hospitals, meet patients, make this matter beyond the scandal. That's actually better, she admits. Authentic. Real. Real is all I do now, I tell her. After we hang up, I find Kyle and Mia arguing over where to hang my first author photo. Above the desk, Mia insists. No, by the window, Kyle counters. Better light. I study the picture, me in that red dress from the gala, standing tall, looking straight at the camera. No filters, no pretense, just truth. You know what? I say. Let's hang it right by the front door, where everyone can see it. Making a statement? Kyle asks, smiling. Always. I help them position the frame. But this time, it's my statement. My story. My truth. My phone lights up with notifications. Pre-order numbers climbing, interview requests, messages from other patients sharing their stories. But what catches my eye is a news alert. Family estate auction. All proceeds to Victim Restitution Fund. I close the alert without reading it. That house, those possessions, that life, they're just props from a performance I never asked to be part of. Hey, Mia calls from the kitchen. Pizza's here. Family dinner time. I look around my new home, at my chosen family, at the life I'm building from truth instead of lies. The autoimmune disease is still there, still needs managing. But now every treatment, every victory, every struggle is authentically mine. Coming, I call back, leaving my phone and its ghosts behind. Some people are born into family. Others survive them. The lucky ones get to build their own. I'm finally one of the lucky ones,